everybody, and welcome to Roll Together and to the first episode of our new long-running campaign, new D&D long-running campaign, I should say, which is titled Chronicles of Aeodrun, and this is a subsection of it called the Chronicles of Aeodrun Origins. Why is it called Origins, you may ask? That is because we are going to be taking each of the players that will be playing in the main campaign, which has a different name, because I like naming things, and we will be taking them through a little one-on-one where we will explore a little bit about their backstory. And today you can see that I have got Mr. Tomothy with me. Hello, Tom.
Good day to you all. Always a pleasure to see you again, Josh. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. This isn't my character voice, though, folks. I'm just...
No.
It's fun to do voices, as Josh is... I'm going to be like, cool, what do they sound like? Where are they from? What do they like to have for breakfast?
I didn't even think of that. Why did I start with you first? Anyway.
I'm a hideous goblin man, but... yes,
proper
and to the
goblin
degree.
energy.
Boop, boop.
Before we get into learning a bit more about Tom's character, we have some sponsors and supporters that we'd like to thank. Our sponsors for today are Phoenix Dice, and our supporters are Idol Champions of the Forgotten Realms and Bearded Ladies. Links will be in chat or in the description below if you are watching on YouTube. We'd also like to say a massive thank you to the D20 Club. We love them. They are the best. You are all the best. They have made us a fan Discord as well as a wiki page. The links will be in the chat right now for those. If you'd like to join the Discord, you can throw some ideas at us, you can chat, share pets. There's constant things happening in the Discord, making some changes here and there just to make it a bit more user-friendly and things. So come along, share, and have fun with us. And the wiki page, you can learn a bit more about all of our other campaigns that we've done. There is a lot, as well as learning about characters and different plot points. One of the things that is on there that has been done by, I believe it was Troutworthy that's done it, is if there is a map with all of the interlinking campaigns with arrows pointing to which campaigns link to which for our Faerun stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of detail has gone into it, and a lot of research has clearly gone into it as well. So go check that out, even if it's just to click on it and have a look.
I also have to say the delight of it. The connections are if the PCs reappear as PCs. If he had done it that the PCs then reappear in cameos as NPCs, it would be arrows. It would just absolutely, the fact that we're all in each other's back pockets, really. And you're like, hey, we're Waterdeep. Here are 7 people. Yeah, it's our fans are delightful.
They are indeed, yes.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, we're going to have a little title sequence that's going to play right now, and we will be back in a jiffy. Right, so let's begin, shall we? Our story begins on the world of Aeodrun, which is the name of the campaign, on the continent of Idorune. We'll have a little map that will appear right now so you can have a little look. Our story currently takes place in the northern part of the Idorune continent in a small little village called Durnshire. Now, Durnshire is set right up against the Dragonfang Mountains and is well known for its... I don't want to get too frozen about it, but it's well known for its ice trade.
Oh, Josh, let it go.
I will not let it go. I'm trolling you. Hey! I'm going to boo myself for that one.
Hey! First joke and first boo of the season. Bow, bow, bow.
Yes, it's
Folks,
well known.
I don't have a boo card because I love the puns. I'm all for it.
It is well known for its ice trade. That they send their reindeer and mooses and all of those types of creatures with, obviously, riders. They don't just do it on their own, unless the druids. The druids could do it, I suppose,
yeah.
But they send them all across the northern part of the continent, delivering ice to various different locations. The reason why this place is so good for ice is because of the lake that's nearby. the nearby lake. But anyway, for your character, Tom,
Yes.
no need for descriptions or anything just yet, but just as a piece of knowledge for you and for the players, Durnshire is not your home. In fact, you don't have a set location that is your home. You travel around with your parents quite regularly. Your mother is a paladin to the Guardian, Peltos the Justice Bringer, who is the Guardian of Fire, of War, Justice, Law, and all of that stuff. And she travels around a lot with, basically as a mercenary. She's a bit of a sword for hire, so you sort of live off of the land and do jobs as and where you can. Your father, he's a bit more laid back. He's more of he looks after, does like a lot of the cooking, does a lot of barding, if that's the correct phrase. But
he bards about, yeah.
He bards about, he is also a mercenary like your mother, but and he'll go out and help her whenever it comes to a mission, hunt mission, fetch mission, or whatever it is. But he also likes to earn a little bit of extra coin by playing in the local taverns of whichever town, city, or village, or settlement, or wherever you are. So you've come to Durnshire. Your parents have just completed a mission. You don't know the details because at this current moment, audience, spoiler alert, you are 12 years old.
I'm just a little guy.
You're just a little Bram.
Yeah.
I just said your character name, but hey ho. Although saying that, your character name is displayed on the screen right now, so that's fine. You know that your character is called Bram, wherever the audience knows.
I had absolutely no idea. Josh has just put a character sheet in front of me. He's like, don't look at it.
These are all pre-generated characters that nobody has any control of.
Absolutely none. We are just meat puppets. Also, surprise podcast listeners. Also, it would have been in the title, I assume, but we got to keep the kayfabe going.
Yeah, there was me trying to put some mystery into it, but I failed miserably. Anyway. Yes, so you have been staying in the local inn. Your parents have just returned back. They've been paid for the job that they've done, and they are basically packing up, ready to move on. They've said that the plan is to continue on south and to meet up with some old friends, the Light Hoofs, as you know them.
I think, again, Bram is very excited. Is a big fan of Mr. and Mrs. Lighthoof, and is, again, sort of like, he's 12. He's like, again, having grown up with their daughter, and then there's also like slightly certain other things are like starting to bubble, but he's still too small to quite understand. But he's like, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Lightfoot, also Greta. I don't know what's happening. Okay, yeah. So yes, I think. I will get to describing what he looks like in a moment. I'm helping. I've never been. That's the wonderful thing. I've been a child, but it's been that. So it's not that sort of thing of like, oh, you must do your chores. So they don't give me busy work. They get, you'll help pack, and you'll help with the cooking, and you'll help with, cleaning, because we're all going to do that. It's not just sort of a random job. And it's also being used to. All of us are used to, don't have anything that you can't carry on your back, and don't own anything that you couldn't leave in a moment. So it's a very, I'm a baby mercenary.
Baby mercenary, just without doing the sort of fighting. I mean,
I haven't had to fight.
I would say that you probably do help your dad when it comes, like you said, with the cooking and stuff. Yeah. Also, when it comes to like bard work and stuff, when he's working in the taverns, you're not on stage with him, but you act as sort of like a hype man. So you're in the crowd going, you start off in one location, you go woo, and then move to another location and go woo, yeah, sort of thing, and you hype up the crowd.
I also know all his songs, so I can also read the crowd. So when they're like, oh, let's hear the adventures of, this, like, they're like, yes, small child. Everyone wants to hear this sad song. There's also not a scam that we run, but I'm able to do a thing with understanding with pubs where it's a thing when people are like, oh, we're going to buy drinks for the bard. And I'm like, yeah, we're not just going to keep drinking. There's a certain drink that one orders in a bar, which is just water, but is expensive. So that's the thing that we don't rob the people. They want to have a good time with us. But then they're also like, yeah, we'll buy one for the singer and also for the kid. So me and Dad are just drinking water. I'm like, ooh, we're tipsy. Ooh. Yeah. Again, it's the wonderful thing between the more, let's say, honourable side of my mother, and my father, who's a bit of a scamp. You know. I've been taught like great honour, but also you need to be able to think on your feet. Be prepared. Yeah. I haven't had to fight. I think. Do my parents hide if they get hurt when they're going off? Are they very much like, hey, look, I got gashed?
No, they very much don't hide it. If they get it, there was one time in your life, probably when you were about 8, where your father was horrifically injured.
Right.
And that was probably the only time that they'd hidden it from you. Every now and then when you're at a stream or something and washing, you see the great scar that he has going down his leg from the injury from that, or you'll see parts of it through his boxer shorts or undergarments that he wears, sort of thing. But you've never... Normally you get told about the sort of injuries that... Normally by your mother. Your mother normally sits you down and explains to you the type of injuries that either of them has sustained and how to treat it, or how to avoid getting injured in that particular way. But that's the one injury that you've never been given any details on. And after that point, your father sort of stepped back a bit from mercenary work, definitely for a little while. There was a period of time where your mother would go out on her own, or she would get other people that both of them have worked with previously and go out, and your father would predominantly stay and look after you, whereas beforehand you would be left with family, friends and stuff, or people that you know, because your parents are very well travelled and they know a lot of people throughout the continent. So there's always someone that they can leave you with and leave you relatively safe. So very safe, should I say.
To just wrap that up, I would have asked about the injury. Is it the sort of thing that my parents got angry about me asking, or was it we don't have time to tell, we'll tell you one day?
They've explained they've explained to you that it's something that you will learn about when you get older. It's something that they will teach you about when you come of age, but it's something to not that they basically your mother said it's something that they don't want to worry about now.
I trust my parents implicitly, so it's that sort of, we've got such a strong relationship that if they don't tell me something, they will also go, we can't tell you that, or you're not old enough, rather than they wouldn't lie to me. They wouldn't. But so I'm very concerned about my father, and I think I helped him basically, but I do trust that eventually, similarly, I would like to be able to fight one day, and I assume that's what I'm being trained for. But my mother being like, not being like, oh, we'll do it one day. She's like, no, it's going to happen. It's just, patience is a virtue, kid. And I'm like, okay, mother.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And so on this particular day, you are heading out. Your mother is carrying a large satchel bag on her back, and your father's quite loaded up as well. You've got your bag, which has grown in the years as you've been getting bigger. Not because you're taking more stuff, but obviously because you're getting bigger, so your clothes require more space, and you're starting to gain your own little bits. Like you've got your own frying pan now. You've got sort of like the wood carvings in your bag for your first instrument that your father's teaching you to make by hand. And you were also given a handle for a weapon.
Oh.
You use it more as like a training stick at the minute, but you know that you're probably gonna be gifted some sort of a blunt weapon. Your mother favours a warhammer.
Nice.
Either a warhammer or a mace. Warhammers tend to what she likes to go for. So you haven't seen the mace that she's used for quite a while, probably about 6 months. When you went through Mythcrest, which is the town just to the south of Durnshire, she'd left the mace with a blacksmith and said that you'd all come back for it when you come back down. So she's been favouring a warhammer at the minute, but blunt instruments are definitely her thing, including her shield. She likes to hit things with her shield. Anyway,
she's the best at what she does.
Yeah. You're leaving the town, and they've both explained to you. I should say that your father's name is Alexandro Silveroak, and your mother's name is Obrenna Shattershield. Would you like to tell everybody what your name is?
I was going to say, my name is Brahm Shatteroak. I am a half-orc. My mother's the orc, my father's an elf. Brahm is, again, we'll get into... If Brahm makes it to adulthood, which, if I don't, would be a very interesting campaign. Brahm is 12, but Brahm is now quite a tall 12-year-old. It's the mixture between like the slenderness of an elf and the bulkiness of an orc, sort of combined together. He's got quite pale green skin, sort of the long elven ears, to the extent that some people would think he's a goblin, really. That's sort of like for the combination. He's also got two little tuskies, as we call them, just like sticking out. They're very prominent, and he's proud of them, sort of like, I don't know how much of his Orcus heritage he really gets into, but it's like, it's a problem. Like I said, he because he's a very sort of happy, smiley person, and then it's just like constantly like, here are his little tusks. So Brahm is probably at 12, going into puberty. He's getting close to like 5'5", is sort of stocking out a bit, as he's sort of getting, but then again, sort of like muscular. Also, he's in his traveling clothes, and like for those of you who are currently watching the stream, he has a red scarf that his parents have always been like. I think it came from his mother being like, "Look, kid, you're going to need to always have a scarf. You never know when it's going to get cold." And then she got very like, also sometimes you might need to like tourniquet off a leg when someone gets cut, And then it was like, also sometimes someone might get bitten by a snake and you're gonna need to cut it off. And then it turned into like, while little Bram's holding the scarf, it's like, this is what's gonna happen if you get bitten by a viper. And Bram's like, oh. Yeah. So again, sort of travel clothes. He's still a child, so he's not wearing armor, but I think sort of like traveling. Nondescript sort of like brown travelling coat, shirt, breeches, sort of very similar to what I think my parents wear. We've got, and it's that sort of that strange thing about like you're going to have to wear one of your parents' clothes eventually. Are you going to be tall and lanky like dad, or are you going to be tall and broad like mum? Or for God's sake, are we going to have to buy Brahm his own clothes? I think, like you said, it's the beauty of he's finally getting to the age where he's sort of owning his own things.
Yeah.
He's not materialistic, but there are lots of sort of like, I think he's got little trinkets and sort of nice things, and especially when he's being left with people, he doesn't just sort of sit around. He keeps himself busy. Yes. So yes, half orc, half elf. 12-year-old, big eyes. Just this is the best life. This really is the best life, because you get to go see new people, you get to drink new drinks and hang out. I can't understand why everyone doesn't. Why would you want to stay in one place? It just seems bored. You get bored eventually. Yeah,
but there's things that you've seen that you would find incredibly hard to describe to people.
Yeah,
the different beauties and horrors of the world, or at least of this continent that you've been on. I should say, as part of the videos that you've watched, that traveling too far out to sea is not possible, so traveling to the other continents on the world is a no-no. So, but you are well traveled here.
I'll say, Brahm has a fear of the ocean. It's not even a phobia. It's folks, if you play Baldur's Gate 3, your character, no matter what you are, is scared of a kraken. You talk to one character, and whatever you are, they're like, I fear the kraken. Brahm fears the kraken. Having been told stories since a child, he's like, yeah, if you go out too far... Yes. Josh, I'm giving you a phobia here. Where you're like, if you ever cast like, what was it, Phantom Killer? It's like just the Kraken, and Bram's like, no, I'm just a little guy.
It's not just you that's afraid of the Kraken. The entire world is afraid of the Kraken, because the Kraken is one of the primordials. So
it's terrifying. Yeah,
it hasn't been seen in thousands of years, but again, that's in the history and lore of the world.
Scared of the primordials, sort of again raised by a paladin mother, sort of like going, I wouldn't say, that's the thing, Brahm is not religious, but definitely believes in the gods, because the gods exist. Not the gods, but you know what I mean. The arc. What term are you using for
The Guardians.
The Guardians definitely has that instilled thing of like going. It's not even like atheism. It's just or agnostic. It's like no, they're out there. I can watch my mother summon fire from her hands. Yeah, of course, magic's real.
Yeah, and there's not. It's not unheard of to have seen, especially the ones that can fly, seen them flying around. Not commonly, obviously. It's still quite rare to spot them because there's only 7 of them.
Have I seen them?
I reckon you probably would have seen Peltos. Peltos, the Justice Bringer, is the guardian of the fire magic on the world, and assumes the form, when they're not in humanoid form, assumes the form of a phoenix. So flies around quite a lot.
I think it's been like when I was quite small, it's that sort of thing, being woken up by my parents, and I'm still small enough for them to hold me, and like being in the woods and being held up in and watching like a fiery thing, and like hearing the voice going, that's Palatos, and again, little baby Bram going, oh, actual proper wonderment of like, almost like feeling like he's blessed, where he's like, I've beheld something truly majestic, and yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
As I said, he fully trusts everything his parents tell him because they have no reason to lie to him. He's still, yeah.
So, you leave Dernshire. You're travelling along. You're leaving Dernshire, and you begin travelling south now. Don't let the map fool you, people. The continent isn't as small as the map makes it out to be. It is going to take you at least 4 days to travel from Dernshire to Mythcrest, and the path isn't necessarily as straight as what it is. There is one straight road that you can walk down, but you will have to. Your parents do take you off the beaten path every now and then. They hunt a couple of wolves and strip them of their pelts, and also they can sell them in Mythcrest. And it's more of a case of that they will set up camp. Your father will sit with you, obviously, because you're in the wilderness, and your mother will go off and hunt some things, and basically stocking up on supplies to either eat or sell in Mythcrest when you get down there. It's a very, very common thing that you're used to. And every now and then you even help with it, not necessarily with the... I mean, you would probably be pretty proficient with being able to skin a wolf.
Yeah.
Or skin any animal, to be fair. You've been taught how to do it.
He's not squeamish.
Yeah.
Again, like I was saying about like seeing the injuries, like he's used to seeing blood, he's used to...
Yeah.
And I think, again, it's that same sort of thing of being taught respect, where it's very much like, don't waste it. And also, like my mother being like, it needs to be a clean kill. It needs to be, yes, we're doing this to survive. Don't be cruel. Just, I'm not, if I was being trained, I'm not the sort of person to be like, oh yeah, go kill some rats. She's like, that's cruelty. That, what do the rats do to you? Yeah. But yes, I would help with skinning, and also if it is just like, because we're by the lake, go get some water and boil the water and start preparing. I'm a very useful engine.
Very, very useful. And each of the nights, nothing really eventful happens during the 4 nights. Like I said, there's a bit of hunting that happens. When you're settled down for the night, your mother will ask you to get your stick out, and will sort of take a broken weapon that she's got, that she's sort of blunted the end of, and she'll begin training. You'll have like little play fights and things. She treats it more like a play fight, but at the same time she's teaching you like how to step when you'll fight, like the different like battle forms when fighting, and how to defend yourself against certain attacks. And she does push you quite hard in that regard, not in a horrible way, but in a sort of like a proper work, like a physical trainer would do to you, like it's a proper workout. And by the end of it, you're proper sweating and everything. Your father's over by the campfire, like cutting everything up and getting everything ready. And once your workout with your mother's done, you go over and you begin. There's no rest. You go over and you go wash up, and then you instantly begin helping your father with preparing food. You'll all sit there and eat a very lovely meal, and then in the evenings, both parents, you'll sit there with them, and they will teach you various different things with their instruments. Your father favors a lute, and your mother favors drums. So like a hand drum, like a dun 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 sort of drum. And they teach you together various different tunes and ways to make a bit of money. Your father's taught you a little bit of sleight of hand every now and then, without your mother seeing, because God forbid. But that's pretty much the 4 days, and you get into Mythcrest. They've explained to you that they're going to Mythcrest. They need to go to the blacksmith to pick up the mace, but this is where they're meeting the Lighthoofs and another friend, somebody who they used to adventure with. They've been a bit vague, which is odd for them. They've been a bit vague on who this other person is, but they've said they'll explain everything when you meet them. Yeah. So you walk into Mythcrest. It's early morning time when you walk in, because you stopped outside, not far outside the town, but because it's more of a walled town, you can't get in unless it's daylight, for safety reasons. But you get in. You make your way to the tavern. You sit down at the table. Your mother goes and grabs food for all of you or orders food, should I say? And as you're sitting there, the door opens, and you just hear I can't do the voice, but you hear a very high-pitched female voice say, "Brambles, brambles," and run over. And you're sitting probably at the end of the table, right, so you can get up easy, and she just jumps right onto you, and what you see is a very small, probably about the same age as you, maybe a year younger.
I think our parents got pregnant around like the same sort of
time. There's probably like a little bit of a difference, but not much.
I almost feel like it's sort of like the downtime in adventuring. It was like, and that's when we got pregnant, and then it's sort of like it's a bit like with people like teachers. I've seen this as a child of teachers, where it's like, we're into the holidays. You got the summer holidays.
What else are we gonna do?
Well, quite. Yes. So I think I feel we've been born around probably within a couple of weeks of each other, so we're used to kind of like combined birthdays.
For my birthday parties, but Greta Lighthoof is a Capra, which is a goat folk. Her mother is a Capra or a goat folk. Her father is known as a Simikos. Simikos are monkey folk. So her father is quite tall, probably about 6'4". Simikos are all of the animal folk that are on the world share animalistic traits. They're not full-blown animals, so that's not like a Leonin is like a lion person sort of thing. A cat folk or a pantheri, as they are in this, would be a human looking person that has cat-like features like cat eyes and maybe claws and things like that. So Simikos, her father, has got a nice chin strap beard here, bit of a fuller, rounder face, has got very hairy sort of forearms. Forearms are very hairy, and a long black tail that extends out and sort of almost wraps around him like a belt. Yes, I've taken that from Super Saiyans.
What you gonna do, folks?
Yeah,
it's taken from the Monkey King. This is folklore. This is myth. Yeah.
This is what you do.
Yeah.
But so that means that Greta also has a very small monkey tail. Oh. Very small. It's not quite developed yet, but
we're both going
enough for it to poke through.
Yeah. Has she always had the monkey tail, or is it coming more in when she's?
It's coming more in as she's getting older, but she has always had it. But it's not. It's at the stage now where she can start learning to pick things up with it. It's a bit more. What's the word? Malleable, is that the word?
I was prehensile, malleable, yeah.
Yeah, where she can actually use it to wrap things around and all of that. Whereas before, it was more like, how they say humans used to have, like an extended tailbone, sort of thing. It was a bit like that when she was like very small, and
sure.
it could wiggle around. But now it's a bit longer.
Yeah. Bram would like a tail. Thinks that's very cool. It's that weird, like, again, having been raised with like a very mixed community thing where it's like, okay, you understand boy girl, that's fine, you get that early, but you're never going to get a tail. And like 3-year-old Bram crying because he wants a tail. He's like, no, my buddy, no, it's not going to happen. Yeah. But so she's jumped on me. Bram is just wraps her. Again, not holding too tight, but is just very, very excited to see her. This is probably one of there's my mother and my father who are number one together, and this is probably my number 2 favorite person in the world.
Yeah. And it's probably been about a year since you've seen them last. Last time we were seeing them would have been around your birthday. You had a joint birthday party, and you would have gone in separate ways. Her parents live the same sort of life that your mother and father do, so it's very much on the road. You can see that your upbringing seems to be a little bit different to hers, whereas she's not carrying around like any weapons or anything, or like she doesn't have a big backpack or anything on her bag. She's carrying more of a satchel, and in the satchel looks like there's loads of different herbs and things inside of it, and you can see there's like a bulge in the sack as well, which looks like it could be like a pedestal and mortar type thing. So you know that her mother is more of a herbalist than a fighter. And they've sort of more retired from the mercenary life and more do things within towns rather than go out and fighting. So that's why whenever your families come together and then they go looking for work, they sort of split off and split the shares of whatever it is they're doing. It gives them a broader scope of jobs that they can do.
Yeah, they're not the 2 parents aren't necessarily a mercenary group, but they're combined. There's a lot. They're
combined, yeah. Each of them used to be part of their own mercenary before. In the days before there was a Brahm and a Greta. Yes, these days were before. Your mother and Greta's mother were part of the Myth-Crest Warriors. So they used to work out of this town. This is like a mercenary / hunters group. Travel around the region. Sometimes go to the city of Liara. I think I said that right, Liara.
Hey, it's
Layrilla,
your world.
Sorry. It's my world. Sorry. It's the world of Layrilla. Layrilla, the city of Layrilla. They'll go there and complete, tasks and things. And then your father and Greta's father were part of the Wolfmoor mercenaries. And both of Wolfmoor is a small settlement that's to the west of northern Idorune. And these 2 groups would clash quite a lot, and they would make competitions out of who could get the most wolf kills or rabbit kills, or who could round up the bandits first, or who could kill that dragon in the mountains, or whatever the job was. You'd compete over it.
Wolves, rabbits, bandits, dragons.
Dragons.
What did Greta's father do?
Greta's father's more of a ranger, so
okay.
But when I say, if you were to look at him in a D&D aspect, he would be more, in terms of like classes and stuff, he'd be more of a ranger. But again, less of a fighter, more of a spotter, as it were. So he'd be the one that would hide in the woods. Tracker, yeah. He'd be the ones that would sort of ping the things and then send the heavy hitters in to do the damage. Be like, 4 targets here, sort of thing. So that was more his job.
So we've got 2 couples quite well balanced.
Yeah, they work well together. Since your father's sort of taken a bit more of a step back from being a frontline fighter, as it were, it sort of changed the dynamic of the group slightly. Not much. It just means that your mother is the only frontline fighter now, instead of your father also jumping in the mix. Your father takes up more of a sort of ranged position now. Again, you're not 100% sure why.
They'll tell me when they... Yeah.
Maybe in a time skip you might learn.
I mean, hopefully we make it to the time skip.
But you're all sitting there. Greta gives you a big hug. Her parents sit opposite your parents. Your parents have to shuffle up a bit because Greta won't sit anywhere other than next to you.
Oh yeah, I think we're kind of in each other's laps a bit, and I think we've now started doing the kid thing of like going, right, I did this, and I think Greta's probably shown me all her herbs, and I'm showing her my stick, which I go, I know it's not that impressive, but actually when I get something that I'm going to put on the end, then I can hit all sorts of things.
Oh, I've got something you can put on it. Hang on, wait a minute.
Yeah.
My mother's been teaching me a little bit of that thing with the needles and the threading crochet. Is it?
Crochet.
Yeah. 1 second, and she goes into her bag, and you'd think it was a bag of holding for a moment because she almost sort of like pulls herself right into it. It's not a bag of holding; it's just a big satchel. And
she's just little. Yeah.
She just pulls out this very, very nicely crafted. It's like it's similar. It's red. It's very similar to the scarf that you're wearing, except for it's tied up. Except for it's like a circle with like a bow sticking off the end of it. So she's sort of crocheted the circle, probably put like some wiring or something into it in order for it to hold its shape. My wife does crochet, so I see a lot of these details. Pixie will probably correct me on anything that I get wrong in chat. But
Hi, Pixie.
Hi, Pixie.
Hi. If you want to make Brahm a new scarf, I'm going to be cheeky. He's going to be wearing a scarf for the rest of the adventure, so just give me 3 things. God, I'm the absolute worst.
She goes, right. Pass me stick.
Pass her the stick.
She takes the stick off of you and she looks at what she's got, looks at the stick. She goes, okay, right. And you can see that she puts her hands around the circle part of the crocheted thing that she's made and seems to unhook it so it opens out. You can see that there's 2 little hooks in there that connect together, and she wraps it around your stick and adjusts it so it fits and hooks it back again. So, and it's proper locked in place. Like you could fling this thing around and it's not going to come off. And you can see that where the crocheted circle is, she's tied very nicely, very well designed red ribbon with like a purple outline on it, and it's got like a symbol of Peltos on one of the bits, one of the like tail bits. I'm going to say tail, one of the tail bits, and then there's a symbol for wolf on the other one. Actually, I'm going to say goat. There's a symbol of a goat on the other one, and she ties that off and she hands that back to you. And she goes, I've been practicing. Mum's been teaching me. I've been practicing, and I wanted to make that as a gift for you. And she hands it back to you.
I sort of hold it up to either of my parents if they're looking at me. Like, look at that! Look what Gret made me look.
Brenna, your mother, leans forward. She's sitting furthest away from you, so your father's in between you. She leans forward and takes the stick off of you and has a look at it. And she goes, "Oh, that's a very hang on. You've got a country voice. She needs to have a country voice.
I'm from the West Country. I'm just
all
a
right.
little guy.
Oh, that's lovely, love. Greta, that's very good. That's definitely not West Country. I'm from the West Country, so I should be able to do the bloody accent. But she passes that back and she goes, "You've done a very good job on that. I'd be very proud." And Greta sort of blushes really red and is like, "Thank you."
Okay.
Your mum likes me.
My mum's great. Josh, we had
She's
4
so
days.
scary.
I know, but she's really nice. Josh, we had 4 days of travel. I would have tried to make Greta a gift.
What do you think you would have made her?
Okay, this is the thing. What would she like? What she's sort of like, I'm knowing her pretty well. I've got wood carving, so...
You know that she's very much into learning her mother's side of the trade, so very much herbs and herbalism and all of that sort of stuff. And you know that she's got a
pestle and mortar.
But what she doesn't have is, or what she didn't have the last time you saw her, was like a grinder. So instead of using the pedestal all the time, it was like, you've seen her mother use it a couple of times. It's almost like a knuckle duster type thing, but it fits on 2 fingers, and it's got a circle. It's the ring, as it were, has this circle on with loads of little like wooden spikes with flat ends on it, and that goes into the mortar as well, and you can use that to sort of scrunch things up even thinner than what a pedestal. It's more to, instead of making it into a paste, it makes it a bit more lumpy, as it were. So when it comes to, if you need to apply something to a wound or something, it gives it a bit more of a texture to it, so it can, so it's not
it's not
almost like
fine
liquid
powder.
so you got like little chunks in it and stuff. And it's also good for cooking.
I'm not saying that I've done this in the last 4 days, but I've definitely probably in the last year, knowing that we're going to catch up at some point. I don't necessarily know how well I would have made it by myself, and I think I might have had to get both my mum and my dad to help me. And also, I think I had again the conversation of like going, well, maybe her hand's grown, and I was like, no, she's got really, really small hands, it's fine. So I have also I'm going to try, because it's what we do. We're going to make each other. We don't expect it, but we're like, oh, they're going to be really surprised when I give them a gift, and then we're both surprised.
And it's few and far between when you see each other. I like the idea of your parents. You've given your parents the idea of what it is you want to make. They've helped you, or they've made it and helped you, and then they've helped you make it, and then they've taken those away, and they've left you to make your own. So it's a bit more personal, rather than going, here's one that I made. Actually, my mum made it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's happened yet, but I was like, if Brahm really struggled, they could be like, well, we've still got one. But but they also, they know the pride of a child. Of like, so yes, I go into my bag and I pull out again the 2-fingered ring with the. So it's like, I kind of do what you've just done and be like, so you grind it up, so it's not, so like if you're doing like a paste, so it's not just a powder. I hope you
That's
like
really
it.
Nice. And she goes bright red, and you can see she starts to tear up a little bit, but she wipes it away and goes, oh. And she pulls out the pedestal, puts some water to the side, puts the ring on. It's a little bit loose, a little bit grown. She like lets it jangle around in between the fingers a bit. And she goes, oh, I'll grow into it. And then she starts like grinding up some herbs into it, and she's like, and then she pulls it out, and you can see that the bits that she's grounded up are all inside of it. Some of them are a bit clunky and a bit lumpy. She's like, oh, and then she sort of wipes that onto her hand, and then she starts like doing this on her face, and you can see that where she's put the bits on her face, it's got like little lumps in it. And then she gets the pedestal, and she starts, or the mortar, or whichever way around it is, and starts sort of scrounging, rushing that in there, pulls the same stuff out, and then wipes it next to it. And she's like, oh, and she uses your eyes as a reflection. So I can see what you mean. She's touching it, and she can see where she's feeling the smoothness of one way and the bumpiness of the other. Oh, it's very nice. She gets a rag and rubs it off.
I thought you like it. It's good. It's good for like poultices and things. So I'm glad you're still into your studies. That I didn't just sort of turn up and you were like, no, that's for children. But no, I really love my.
Well, it's definitely not for children. It's going to be. I'm going to be a great healer one day. That's what I want to be. Just like my mum.
Yeah. look at her mum.
And mum's just smiling at the pair of you. You can see that the adults are having a conversation, but every now and then each of them will just look over and give you both a big grin.
We kind of like, Josh, we're obsessed with each other.
Oh yeah,
that sort of that thing of like that again, but it's the same. Again, it's like two sides of the same coin, where we're both like, we both know we're going to be great adventurers, and we both know our parents are the best people in the world, and they live the best lives. Although, as you said, that's the weird thing where Greta gets to have more of a... Greta gets a home. Greta gets a house. I spend a lot of time sleeping in the dirt.
Yeah.
Which is... Yeah. Which I haven't quite got, because it's sort of like... If I hadn't known such riches, I could live with being poor. Like, he's never really... Like, okay, like... It's like going out to eat at a restaurant. You know, that's a special thing. You don't do that every day. Like, being able to sleep on a mattress, that's special. That's when you get good. That's when you caught a lot of wolves. That's when you done a lot of skinning. Yeah. And sincerely, he absolutely loves this charm. And
loves the relationship between the two of you. And as the sort of morning ticks on and you all sit and eat, and eventually the door opens, lots of patrons come in, and they either enjoy breakfast, or some are regulars that sit in all day and drink, because that's the thing. But eventually the door will open and a figure walks in and approaches your table. This figure was probably once about 4'9", but because of age now sort of slumped forward a little bit, so stands more at 4'5". Long graying beard with the sort of bowl, like the hair goes around this part, like round the sides of the head to the back, and the top part is completely bald. An elderly dwarven gentleman walking with a walking stick, and your parents greet him, and Greta's parents move up a bit and let him sit down. Your father turns to you and goes, he doesn't have a West Country accent, but he looks to you and goes, children, this is Solomon. He is a friend of ours. He used to give us quite a lot of jobs when we were adventurous. Say hello to Mr. Solomon.
Hello, Mr. Solomon. I put a hand out to, because it's always polite to shake, so I extend my hand for him to shake.
He looks to you with a very warm grin, and he goes, "Oh, yes, of course," and sort of wipes his hand on his trousers, and then goes to shake your hand. You must be young Abraham, is it?
That's me, sir. Yes, young. Yeah, but my friends can call me Brahm, so you can call. Looking at my parents, so you can call me Brahm too.
Oh, Brahm, that is a very firm handshake for one of your age. I see great things in your future.
Oh, Greta, did you hear? Just like, kind of like, big smile. Yeah.
And then he looks to Greta, and Greta's like proper red in the face, and she's like, "Hi." She's like, "Oh, you must be Greta, right? Oh, is this your herbalist kit? Oh, may I?" And he sort of dips his little finger into where the into the paste, and sort of tastes it a bit, and goes, "Oh, that's a very fine healing mixture. Oh, you are going to be a very good healer when you're older." As he comes up a table, and you both just look at each other with big wide eyes.
And again, the fact that yes, I've met other like sort of heroes to Bram's mind, but this is someone I've never. You said I've never met him, but
never met him before. No,
but I vaguely ever heard of.
Parents never mentioned him before.
Okay, that's even more exciting because it's not
brand new person,
brand new person, and it's not like, oh, this is the burgomaster of the town. This is someone, and I think, if you permit it, I'm smart enough and I'm trained enough to go, that's someone exciting. That's not just, I'm a merchant, you're like, that's it. As I said, hero, capital H. And Bram's like, oh, I bet he also has seen a phoenix, yeah. Okay, no. So I think both of me and Greta are very excited. This is
very,
new.
very excited.
This is different. This is not what, I don't think we're going to go fight wolves. This seems important. This seems like we need to pay. It's the childish thing of like going, it's important that I pay attention to this.
Yeah.
In case the parents miss anything. I'm also using my good listening ears,
So he sits at the table. He's bought a plate of food and a drink, and he sits there and drinks. Everybody sort of stays quiet at the table while he's eating his food. He doesn't entertain. I say that making him sound like a hard ass, but
no,
he's
eating.
He's eating. He doesn't talk while he's eating. Some people have a conversation while they're eating and stuff. He just sits there and he eats. And
absolutely
your parents respect him doing that.
I wouldn't take that as any form of rudeness. I think it's that I've worked with a lot of different people and been like, some people are chatty, some people are hungry, and also a mercenary life. You eat when you can, you sleep when you can, you go to the bathroom when you can. You grab this opportunity. We would hate for him not to have food because suddenly we got attacked by bandits. And also, I've got Greta. I think we're also very quietly. I think if it's like she's still showing me her herbs and like really quietly being like, okay, so this does this, and I'm like, wow.
But the pair of you would know obviously this level of respect that your parents are showing. So even though you're still sort of like fiddling around with your own stuff, you're not making any noise.
No, we're being very
You're being very quiet, but you can tell by looking at this person that he doesn't have any weapons on him at all, or a backpack or anything.
Okay.
He's wearing leather armor. You can tell that, but it's almost like it's tailored into a suit, as it were.
Ooh, okay.
Not like a tuxedo type suit, but it is very smart looking, like the sort of thing that you would wear to a dinner party or something in fantasy setting.
Yeah.
So, like ceremonial. It looks more like it's ceremonial with the way that it's polished, but it looks like it's also functional.
And it's not like the hide armor that we would probably, the sort of like that a mercenary. This is, as I said, this is.
It's like ceremonial leather, ceremonial studded leather armor. If you were to put like
it looks
to it.
So, to my childish, that looks expensive. That looks like
very expensive.
That looks like there's someone. I would tell you, Brahm thinks that he's probably the head of a guild or something. This is the sort of thing that'd be like, he's like the Fighters Guild, or like a little bit like again, I think I'm saying it very quietly to Greta. It's like, well, if he was a mage, he would be wearing robes. But
you get like a little elbow in your side from your father as you begin talking.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
And
sorry. Yeah.
Finishes his drink.
Yeah. Like my fingers are on my lips in between my two tasks. And I was like,
right. Well, yes, and he sort of leans back a bit and sort of stretches. Sorry if you can't hear me very well. But he goes, right, so business. It's been a very long time since I've seen you all. I can see that you've all been very busy. It's good that we've managed to keep communications as well. Right, down to business, as it were. I've got a job for you. And he's addressing the parents at this point. There is a creature that is out in the local woodland area that has been taking the cattle from the farmlands. We believe it's probably, I don't know, it's some sort of creature with claws dragging the corpses away, or dragging the cattle away, should I say. I've done a little bit of investigating from what I can. And it seems that it could be either a griffin or a harpy or a nest of harpies. I'm not 100% sure, but I've done that research at least, so you can be a little bit prepared. And O'Brennan's like, well, that's good. That's good that you've done a little bit of research. As always, it's a pleasure to work with you, because at least we know we're getting all of the information. And she's like, sorry. Solomon's like, yep, yes. I'm willing to pay 100 gold pieces to each of you for the completion of this mission. It's quite a dangerous task. Of course, your children are more than welcome to stay with me. I have a small apartment that I rent out here for when I travel this way. Looks to the pair of you. I'm not originally from here. I'm from further down south. But you're both more than welcome. I'm sure your parents would be very appreciative of you to prepare some. It looks to Greta, maybe some healing poultices, and Brahm, maybe you could prepare some food and things for when they return.
Yes, sir. We can do that. Thank you for your hospitality. That's much appreciated.
You're more than welcome, my boy. You're more than welcome. Yes. So, I mean, of course, whenever you're ready to go, if you go visit the blacksmith, I've requisitioned some new. I mean, it's up to you. I know you all like to use the equipment you have on you, but if there's anything new that you'd like, you can take anything like that and. Or have the stuff that you've got repaired. I want to make sure that you're all safe, of course, so there's no expense spared. And all four of the parents are like, oh, that's good. Well, fantastic, thank you very much. And he's like, good, right. Well, shall we? Would you like to go now?
I sort of like look a little bit at my parents. We're like, I'm used to, and I'm sort of like, oh. I mean, I can go. Me and Greta can go get things ready. While you go get the go get the equipment if you want to go.
Your father sort of puts his hand on your shoulder and goes, "Oh no, son, no. You can come with us to the blacksmiths.
Oh, okay.
You'll come with us there, and we'll show you what it's like to go on a shopping spree, as it were. Out of character shopping episode.
I was going to say a shopping episode this early.
It's like, yes, we can show you the sort of things that you want to look for. So, introduce you to a little bit of haggling, maybe, and so yes. And Solomon's like, yes. I mean, it would be, I shall come as well because everything is I will be paying for. So
spare no expense.
Spare no expense. So you finish off your breakfasts. Yeah, both of you pack away your stuff. Both of you and Greta, should I say? And you leave the inn.
Is Greta coming with?
All of you are going together as a group.
Yeah. We're holding hands. It's just
holding hands.
Yeah.
Not quite skipping in front because you're not quite familiar with the location. It's more Solomon's at the front and he's leading the way. It's like, let's go to the general store's just there. Let's go there and pick up whatever we need from there. And your parents go in and they show you around. I mean, you've been in general stores before.
Yeah.
But you've never really might not have paid much attention to exactly what your parents buy, but they take you through every detail of what they would buy from a general store, whether it be like food, rations, cloths, healing supplies, and all of that sort of stuff. I mean, you won't be able to pick everything up from a general store because it's a general store, but they put that stuff on the table. You notice that your mother picks up a bedroll and puts that down. It's like, my one's sort of lost its. I need a new one for my back.
Oh no,
so,
that makes sense.
Do all that. You must look after your bedrolls. Look after your bedroll and look after you.
Yes, Ma. Yes. Everything's sinking in. It's sort of like
And you just watch as Solomon just picks out a gold coin pouch, sort of shakes it, and just puts that on the counter. Doesn't even take the gold out to count it. It just puts it on the counter. And they turn around.
Wild times.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Considering we live hand to mouth, I can't imagine such wealth. It must be at least 20 gold, to Brahm. That's amazing. Yeah.
I think after you've been to a couple of shops, you go to a herbalist shop, pick up some herbs. You notice that the herbs are given to Greta.
Makes sense.
Or they're sort of split between Greta and her mum. And after probably about the third different shop that you've been to, and obviously each time you've been to the shop, Solomon has just picked up a pouch and put it on the counter. And with your wide-eyed look, your father will lean in with a bit of a chuckle and goes, "We've worked with Mr. Solomon quite a lot. He knows our habits and he knows what we like to buy. So he's not overspending. He just knows exactly what we're going to buy and puts the exact amount down."
What can I say, Dar? You've become predictable in your old age. He knows you too well.
You say that to him.
Yeah.
As he goes to walk past you, he stops, turns around and looks at you.
Yeah.
And to start off with, it looks like he's got a really angry look on his face.
Yeah.
But as he kneels down to you, you can see that it becomes this really cheeky grin. And he goes, You definitely take after me, don't you?
I like to think I'm a good mixture of the both.
Right. And he sort of ruffles your hair. And then
sort of like nuzzle a bit into him.
He takes his hat off, which is a black hat, and he places that on your head.
Folks, costume change.
It's costume edition more.
Costume edition. For podcast listeners, Brahm is now basically wearing like a black cowboy hat. Thank you, Dar.
You can look after that for me.
Oh, of course. It's a loan. I'll give that back when you finished fighting the hippogriff. Yeah.
And he turns around, and as he sort of spins on his heels, you watch as somehow he's pulled a more green-coloured hat from somewhere, and that goes on in place on his head.
I would like to point out, folks, that it has been one of Bram's family things of to get ahead, get a hat. Because, one, you can hide things in your hat. Two, it protects you from the sun. And three, if you happen to meet a charming person, you may just simply remove your hat. Cheekiness and also courtesy. It's... I also have to say, I'm kind of looking a bit dashing now wearing the hat. I'm like, hey guys, Cowboy Brahm is here to stay.
And Greta is doing that proper like anime look where her eyes are really wide and sparkling, looking at your hat like, oh.
I look and do the sort of tilt of the hat.
You're so cool.
I do my best. I don't know why he's doing like little pistols, because pistols, but it's that sort of thing. Like, he's very. That's ridiculously touching that I'm wearing, and it is that same thing about like. I don't think I'm over egging about how much he respects and like hero worships his parents. The fact that it'd be like your dad gave his adventurous hat to you, This is like a kid being like, oh, I got to see my dad's war medals. This is, yeah. He's very touched.
So the last stop is the blacksmith's, because it's the furthest away from the inn. And as you approach, you can hear the clanging of hammer on anvil, and you can see steam coming out of the roof. And as you approach, you can see there's an elven gentleman standing behind the counter, seeing to some other patrons beforehand. And as they walk away, Solomon approaches and they have a bit of an exchange. And the elven gentleman clocks your mother and is like, oh, yes, I've got something for you. And he sort of disappears out the back. And you can see as he opens the door to the workshop area, you can see inside that there's a couple of there's some dwarven people working on different forges. There's a couple of humans around. You can even see an orc. Big grey-skinned orc is sort of hunched down in this tiny space and is sort of hammering away at what looks to be a weapon of some sort that they're designing. But there's quite a busy workshop area.
Are there a lot of orcs in this part of the world? Or...
Yeah, I would say, because orcs are descended from giants, so...
Oh, because the mountains.
The mountains are descendant from the giants of old, should I say, because giants aren't around. And the greys, as they're called, are mountain orcs, basically, and are slightly larger, can have similar skin tones to what humans can have, but can also have like a greyish tint. And you would know that this person is a greys, as it's called. The reason why they're called greys is because when they go for a little bit of history 101, when the great herd come together every 100 years and they travel to the ruins of Idorus, which was the original home city of the orcs, which was destroyed in a war thousands of years ago, sort of thing, all of the orcs come to this place, and each of them were divided into tribes at that point. And in order for them to symbolize which tribe they were a part of, or herd, sorry, which herd they were a part of, they would paint markings on their faces in colors that would symbolize them. So greys used grey paint. Your mother and yourself would be classed as greens, so you would use green paint. Also means that all orcs can have grey, green, red skin, as well as the standard human tones, but it's more the skin, it's more the paint colours that they marked their bodies with when they were there. That's how they sort of differentiated themselves when they had to split off.
When's the next great meeting?
There hasn't been one in your lifetime.
Right, and I'm 12, and I haven't heard. It's not the sort of the thing that my mother's like, we need to finish this or like 8 years time we need to go off to the great meeting.
It's not something your mother's ever said to you, no. Yeah. So you're not sure you've never really, it's not something that's ever come up in conversation with anyone really, so you don't know if you're like bang smack in the middle of that period, or if it's coming close, or you're not 100% sure.
I think if she was teach me about our heritage, I would have asked, and then it'd been a little bit like, it's just like, it's going to happen when you're going to know when it happens, because everyone knows. So you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's sort of like a, you know how your body has like a, what's it called, like a memory natural, like a natural memory sort of thing. Like you
There's
know
a
how,
rhythm, yeah.
yeah, like a rhythm to it. So
Yeah.
it's like all orcs know when that time is, and they
Okay.
know that they need to leave. To
And I
you
would
know,
still get that being half
yeah.
orc.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
and again, I think that's not an issue.
No,
It's just sort of like everyone. Yeah,
no.
I think that's. Hey, folks, it's not a racism problem here. We're just like going, but yeah,
It's a cultural thing. That's what it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
an orc cultural thing. It's like we didn't explain it before, but
yeah.
your father's surname is Silveroak.
Mm,
Your mother's surname is Shattershield. It is orc tradition
mm,
that when a child is born, that the part of the mother's surname and part of the father's surname are taken,
mm.
and the child is given that name. It's very rare that you'll find someone you'll find an orc family, whether they be like interspecies or whatever,
Mm,
that would have the same surnames going through the heritage.
mm.
It's more that the sort of sharing of the culture is more important to them than the keeping of the same names, as it were.
And that's also common for interspecies. Sort of like the fact that
Yeah.
you know, so people won't be like, oak. That's not an orcish. The fact you'd be like, okay, this is a name from the water elves, or this is a name from. I think also, folks, I don't know if we got into it. My dad's a wood. It's a nature elf, was it?
Yes, so he's known as a wild elf.
Wild elf, yeah.
Yeah. So orcs don't look down on interspecies relations or children or anything like that. It's not something that's known. More orcs is more orcs, basically.
That's
if you want to take it from like a Warhammer perspective.
I know this was diversion, but now having seen another orc, it's not like, wow, another orc. It's like that is a person who's doing their job.
Yeah. I mean, you probably would have seen the odd orc of different variations around, different ancestries around, but probably not for a while. It does still take you aback when you do see one that isn't your mother. But the elven gentleman comes from the back, and he's got this very nice big box in his hands. He places it on the counter and opens it out, and there is a very nice mace inside. It's the mace that your mother had, but it looks like it's had some sort of upgrade or something done to it. It looks a lot shinier and a lot more deadly than it did before. And your mother picks it up and and swings it around, tests the balance of it, and you can see that she's very impressed. And she says that she's very impressed with the work that they've done with it, and she stows it away. You are then taken to the apartment where Solomon lives. And as your parents wish you goodbye, you both you and Greta go inside to Solomon's, and they go off on their adventure. Is there anything you'd like to say to them before they go?
Are we huggy? Are we huggy family?
I don't think they'd they've never. I think one thing that your parents have always taught you is to never hide your affection. There is a time and a place for it, but never to, but not with each other. So even if you're out in the middle of the street, so your mother will,
I think
kneel down and give you a hug.
Yeah, I think we do it, but also sort of do the sort of hand clasp, pull in. Sort of like it's incredibly affectionate, but it's also brothers in arms kind of feel.
Yeah,
that it's sort of like going as we would like. This is the way that they hug my. Basically, I want to say my godparents with Greta. It's sort of like going. There's a strong sense of tribe, and it's that sort of the thing that I fully hug Greta. That's different because and that's also something Bram's trying to work out. It's like why is that different? But yes, no, I properly hug my parents because we're not stupid. We know that this might be the last time, but we don't think about that. We prepare, we plan for the best, but we prepare for the worst. Yeah. It's sort of like, and to be honest, they've prepared me well enough that if anything does go wrong, they're like, right, these are the people you can talk to, and these are the people you go here. And I think now this is also added, Mr. Solomon is a good person. Yeah. Mr. Solomon will It's just like Brahm, who's like, well, yeah, no, I assume that Mr. Solomon would be able to get me work one day, or something like going.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be homeless, and I'm not going to leave Greta. You know, we're kin. We're kin. Are we more than kin? That's a late night conversation he needs to have with himself. But yes, I've properly sort of hugged my parents.
Raising.
What do you mean? I've got no idea. What?
Yeah.
I'm just I'm just a sweet little baby boy.
Anyway.
Anywho, yeah.
Your parents go off. Yeah.
I think whatever they want to say to me, we do. I think again, this is the advice. Do this.
Just
I think,
listen to Mr. Simon. Does do what he tells you to do. Be on the lookout as always. Look after Greta, of course.
Always.
And as you'll say, the people that have looked after you before when you've been in Mythcrest will be coming over as well to speak to Solomon as well. So you'll get to see them.
Oh, well, when you do get back, what do you want to have for dinner? I can get that sorted.
I mean, your father just could do with, I reckon, something a bit meaty would be nice.
Yeah, I can do that.
I should also point out that they did sell the pelts for some gold, so they do leave you a little bit of spending money.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably going to be gone for like a week or so.
Yeah,
you know,
go to the general store and get yourself some sweets and stuff. So
yeah. Oh, that the fact that I'm allowed sweets, that's exciting. That's, you know, I think Chrissy was saying like, oh, I'm not really like when I go to the general store. It's like I've been sent to go shopping and that's fine. But then it's like, and then a little something for yourself. I'm like, oh my god. Yeah, no. Yeah, Ma. I'll see you soon. You take care of Da, and I'll see you shortly.
I'll see you shortly. Okay, goodbye. And they all go.
I tilt my hat at both of them.
Your dad tilts his new hat to you.
So cool. My dad's so cool.
You go into Solomon's, and he's very nicely furnished place. He's got a little area set up for you to do what you want to do. You've both. Unfortunately, you have to share a room. There's a double bed in there, so not a double bed. Sorry.
No, there's a double bed.
There's two twin beds in there that you can sleep in. It's as if he's had his own children sleep there, maybe stay there, maybe at some point. But the thing with Solomon is you can tell that he is a very wealthy dwarven man, but he seems to have all of the time in the world for the pair of you two. So whatever it is you're doing, whether it be you're adding a little bit of extra craftsmanship to your instrument that you're making, or you're preparing a meal, or Greta's doing some herbalism stuff, he's there and he's watching, and he's constantly giving you reassuring, not advice, but what's the word? Not criticism either.
Yeah.
He's positivity. He's giving you a lot of positive comments is what he's doing. He's very impressed with how you're doing, and at one point you would probably get your stick out and you would start practicing the forms that your mother has taught you, and he's sitting there watching and smoking a pipe and all that sort of stuff, and he's very, very impressed with your form and everything. He does mention a few times that your inside foot could do with angling to the left a little bit or to 90 degrees or something, so it gives you like a firmer position if somebody tries to push into you. And you know, you do that and Greta pushes you and you don't actually move, and you're like, and you do have a little bit of a practice fight with Greta, although I would assume you don't go too hard on her.
No, I mean, I think she goes hard on me because she's like, I've got a stick. But no, I'm definitely not gonna hurt her.
And you can tell that she's not been trained in any sort of martial combat, so that's probably why you're not going too hard on her.
I think also it's that sort of thing of like having spent so much time together now where we're like, okay, I can help, we can train. And then she's also like, I'm not saying she's teaching me to read because it's not that, but you know, sort of like, I don't think we have a lot of time for like books on the road. So she's teaching
you a lot of like basic herbalism and all that.
Herbalism and I think if Mr. Solomon does have a library, that we are. It's also that weird thing is like, okay, yeah, we've read the books for children, but now we can read the older books as well, because we both, I think like that's the thing. If I got hold of a book, my dad would be like, yeah, I mean, there's sex in that, kid, but you got to learn it somewhere. That's all like going, well, and the mum was like, no, he's not reading a smutty book. He's like, well, he's got to learn.
And like you were correct before, your parents are gone for about 7 days.
Yeah, that's not unusual. That's fine. Yeah.
During that time, like I said before, the things that I said before, you do those, you sort of cycle through those every day. You head to the shop, head to the general store, and buy some small supplies and stuff for you. Everything is provided for you by Solomon anyway. The people who normally look after you visit as well, and you're able to chat and have fun with them, and they reminisce with Solomon over some old stories of adventuring and stuff, that quests and things that they've done for him. It seems that he's very much a quest giver rather than, it might be that he's a much older generation than what they are, so he was probably an adventurer long before them.
Okay, that's what Brahm was thinking and understanding. Also knowing how rare it is to see an old adventurer. It's that same sort of thing of like going, he's not weak because he's old, he's survived. And so I think, again, like you said, whatever sort of advice he's giving, Brahm takes on fully, because he's like, a person of authority who could save your life. There's no point in going, I think I'm doing my foot right. Well, no, Greta's 4 foot nothing, and she could have shoved me over if I got that wrong. Yeah, so no, I'm again, Brahm, very attentive, listening to the stories, not interrupting. Yeah, just and 7 days, it's fine.
7 days, and when it gets to the morning of the 7th day, you both awaken in the bedroom. You know that Solomon normally goes out first thing in the morning, probably to the general store to pick up his like paper and stuff, and he always stops by the inn to pick up some food for the pair of you. He always brings almost like a cooked breakfast back with him, sort of thing. And you all eat at the table. You could eat the food that's there, but he likes to treat you when it comes to breakfast. You've realised he sees that as the most important meal of the day. Gives you something nice and hearty, but today's a little bit different. He comes back, but he doesn't come back with his usual bits or with food. And as he walks into the room, as he walks into the apartment, and you're both like sitting at the table ready, he just gives you both he's got a very worried look on his face, and he just looks to you both and goes, I think you both need to come with me, please. And he stands at the door ready for you to walk out.
Instantly have Greta's hand, where we knew this day would probably come, but we didn't think it was going to be this soon. And also we definitely know, knowing Solomon, it wouldn't be like, actually it turns out this is happening. No, he wouldn't worry us like this. He knows exactly, and we're too young, but it's got so Brahm wants to cry, but he's not going to cry. And it's not because he's ashamed, but he's like, this isn't the focus. It isn't about... They are probably hurt or dead, and I just need to be ready. Yeah, so, I'm trying to comfort Greta. I don't want to make her cry, because if she cries, then I'm going to cry, and I don't think I'll ever stop.
You can see she's starting to tear up, and she just holds your hand quite tightly.
Yeah,
but
holding hand, and I'm pulling her in, is sort of like, again, quite a height difference still. She's right in. I was about to say she's in me, but you know what I mean. We're walking. Josh, the fact that we've probably also ended up just climbing into the bed together to like sleep. It's like no, you've got to have separate beds. That's not what you do. This is her warmth and her presence. That's keeping me together at the moment. So yes, I'm gonna go with Solomon.
Okay, so you both go with Solomon. Greta can also feel your sort of like your energy, and she can feel that you're quite upset as well. So she holds it together to support you. We're going to go on break now as you leave the apartment. before we go on break, we're going to have the first dice roll, I think, of this session. Tom, I'd like you to roll me 2d4, please.
Okay, that's a. We start with a 1, and then we go with a 3. So that's 4 out of 8.
Okie dokie. Right. So yes, we're going to go for a quick break, everybody. We will see you in about 10 minutes' time. Look out for adverts and things in the break for our sponsors and supporters, as well as other shows that are happening at the moment. And we will see you soon.
Quickly, Pete. Am I the most poppet yet? We're getting there, but
Not
see you in a
yet.
bit, folks.
Bye. And welcome back, everybody. I hope you all had a good and very nice short rest. We are well rested, and we have new hydration drinks and all of that sort of stuff.
Cheers.
What do you have in there today, Tom?
It's apple juice. It's healthy.
Nice.
It's sweet. It's a good time. What have you got, Josh?
Technically still have the same drink that I had before. I actually forgot to change it.
Oh.
Or top it up, shall I say, because I wouldn't get rid of all that, but
Yeah.
I decided to have a sit down instead. Lay down. Decided to have a lay down instead, because...
Yeah. It's your campaign, you know?
Yeah.
If you want to go out for a run, I can't stop you.
Yeah. Anyway, in the first half, we met a 12-year-old Brahm, who's going to be one of our adventurers for the new long-running campaign. Brahm was leaving Dunshire with his parents and making their way to Mythcrest to meet up with Greta Lighthoof and her parents, along with a mysterious, very kind gentleman named Solomon. Solomon gave a very important task to your parents, or to Bram's parents, should I say, because they're not the audience's parents. Although if you want them to be the audience parents, please leave a comment.
Although, folks, from considering the way this is going, maybe you don't want them to be your parents at the moment. Just keep going, Josh. I'm sure everything's
keep
fine.
going.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
I'll be your parent. Bram will be your dad, fun dad, Bram. Oh, like, Daddy! Papa! Papa, you wouldn't kill my papa, would you?
Anyway.
No.
Yes, so both sets of parents were gone for 7 days. You and Bram and Greta were able to have able to bond a little bit more. It's been a year since they've been together. Solomon took a great interest in what the pair of you were doing, and one morning, as he returned back from his usual morning routines, he, without any of the usual stuff that he normally brings back, he tells the pair of you that you need to come with him. And that is where we're going to pick up with the pair of you. Got it. Sorry. Yes. That's where we're going to pick up with the pair of you leaving and going with Solomon. Solomon takes you both down the main street, walking past the general store, walking past the blacksmiths, and goes towards the edge of town. And at the edge of the town is a building that is... It's like a little shack. It's very... looks like it was once very run down, but there's a very large tent attached to it, and you know that this is like the first aid sort of place. This is where anybody who's injured goes to get healed. And he leads you inside, and the first person that you see is Greta's mum. You can see that she looks very banged up. She's got her arm in a sling. She's got loads of little cuts and scrapes all over her face. One of her horns that she's got on her head is slightly broken. Looks like it's been snapped off, but it looks like it's been sort of taped back on to her head at the tip. And she smiles to you both. It's a very sad, but also, grateful to see the pair of you. And Greta runs over and gives her mum a big hug, and they sort of embrace each other. And Solomon just looks towards you and gestures towards the end of the hall, where you can see your mother's shield is leaning up against the wall of the tent right at the far end, almost like attached to a table. So you can see that's where your parents probably are. They're just resting, right?
Yeah, Mrs. Lighthoof. Can I know we're not at a D&D thing. Can I make some sort of insight roll? Because you'd think, like, I'm so happy to see my daughter, and then she looks, and, you know, if it would be like, oh God, I'm gonna have to adopt this child. Can I make some kind of, like, trying to read this older woman's
You can
face?
make an insight check. Remember, you don't have any stats at the moment, so it's just a flat D20 roll.
That's fine with me. That's why I was just like, because it would make sense that if it would be like, I mean, she smiled, you know, she didn't like suddenly burst into tears, but like, oh, this poor.
There's a sad smile.
Yeah, it's a 16.
16. So you can tell there's a lot of hurt.
Yeah.
Whether that be definitely physical hurt in her facial expression, but there's also emotional hurt there as well. There's something has happened, but you're not 100% sure what.
I'm also because I am going to head down. No sign of Mr. Lighthoof.
You've not seen Mr. Lighthoof, no.
Okay.
And you've not seen either of your parents.
Yeah, no. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna.
Just as you go to step forward, you feel a strong, firm hand on your shoulder, and as you turn, you can see Solomon is there. And do you want me to come down with you, or do you want to go on your own?
Mr. Solomon, we've got to know each other pretty well over the last week. Do you, in all honesty, think that I probably do need some support down there?
Right, then I will come with you. I wanted to make sure that you were okay with it first.
I appreciate it. Again, thank you for your kindness over the last week. I'm good. As he's so nearly crying because he's like the absolute worst thing, you know, it's coming.
He smiles. He gives you a very soft and light, not a full smile, but it's just, you can just see the crease of his lips. It's very sad. And your parents would be, or
don't
you've made your parents very proud. And Greta goes to grab your hand to come with you, but she gets pulled back by her mum. She's like, no, stay with me, please, darling. We need to talk.
Again, I'm going to look at Mrs. Like, what I'm trying to convey is your husband dead, basically? As
she pulls Greta into her chest to give her a big hug, you can see that her face with the 16-year-old, you can see that now that she's out of Greta's view, and she looks at you. She tries to hold it, but her face falters and tears begin to well up in her eyes and start pouring down.
Brahm just sort of like touches his heart as a kind of like, again, this isn't the first. He's seen dead people, and people he knows have died. And he understands the bond, but it's sort of like, I don't want to upset Greta. As I said, that if she starts crying, I'm going to start crying. So just as a sort of soldier to soldier, which is, again, it's like I said, that's a weird thing of like, you're 12, you're not a mercenary.
Especially to Greta's mum, who's not that much of a soldier, more of a healer. Yeah,
but still, I can. For saying it's the best life in the world, it's also a horrible life. You know, just a little. I also appreciate that I'm gonna. I'll talk to them. We can. Yeah, I need to go see my parents.
So, she nods to you when you do this to her. She obviously can't do that because that's what Greta is at the minute. But she nods to you and she sort of closes her eyes and fully embraces her daughter. And you're able to walk down towards where your mother's shield is.
Hat comes off because...
You know it's your mother's shield because it's got the phoenix wings of Peltos on the shield itself. And you can see that her warhammer is also sort of laid behind it a little bit. It looks like it's got blood all on and maybe some bits of feather and stuff on there. Obviously there's been some sort of fighting. The shield's got some scratch marks on it. And as you walk to the end of, I should say that this tent is full of beds and the sort of curtains that you pull around to give privacy and stuff. A lot of them are pulled round, and some of them are empty. There's people laying in some of them, so it looks like they're in various stages of illness, whether it be like common cold or some sort of, chicken pox sort of thing, just not something super viral, but
it's a sort of it's a hospital.
It's like a hospital.
There hasn't been a massacre. It's not.
No.
It's
No,
not.
it's not like all of these people have come from the same place.
Yeah. Okay. Again, Bram will be paying attention to that because if he came in and was like, everyone looks like they got gouged by some giant harpy, he'd be like, damn. But okay, this is. But he's also. They're not going to be there, but he's keeping an eye out. He's also keeping an eye out for Mr. Light, he won't be. I know. But this is a world of maybe, but yeah, no, yeah. Keeping it together. Going past and am I with the shield and the hammer?
Yeah, you get to the shield and the hammer, and you can see the bed. You can see where the bed area is, and sat in the chair next to the bed, wearing no armor whatsoever, which is a very rare occurrence for you, is your mother. Her armor is on the table. As you get around the corner, it's on the table, and she's you can see that she's not actually wearing a top at all, so she would effectively be topless, but she's got so many bandages wrapped around, like from the top of her chest right down to her stomach. She's got wraps around her arms. You can see that there's cuts and things, bits of cuts all over her face. She's got a horrible stitch going right across the top of her right eye to her hairline and it's fresh. I mean, your mother had scars before, the odd scar from the odd scrape and everything, but you've seen those before, but you can tell what's new. You can tell what's fresh. She's got her left arm in a sling, the same as what Mrs. Hoof does, and her foot looks like it's in a cast as well, and it goes right up to where the knee area is, and the other leg is bandaged up quite heavily as well. In the bed is your father. He is very pale. He also looks like he's got a lot of scratch marks and horrible scratches around him. But he's more covered up, so you can't. It's like it's sort of up to here. Yeah. You can see without having to make a check that he's very lightly breathing. So he's not dead, but he's definitely unconscious. And your mother's sort of leaning forward with her head down and doesn't see you approach.
I still get in next. I'm not going to startle her because she's a warrior, but he doesn't know what to say. He's like, I'm here, Ma.
You just watch as she just extends her hand out. The hand that's not sling.
Take her hand.
And for the first time, you've been hugged by your mother before. Yeah. You've had affectionate cuddles with her. Yeah. But for the first time ever, you watch as she takes a real tight grip of your arm to the point where it almost hurts and pulls you into her. You hear as your body collides with hers, you hear her grunt in pain. But she wraps her arms around you and just begins hugging you. And you can just feel wet on your shoulder as she begins crying.
I bury my face into her hair, just sort of like that proper sort of like, holding her tight as I can. Where I'm just like,
And she just holds and hugs you, and she doesn't look at your father at all during this entire period. She's just focused on the moment with you.
I think I just keep saying, I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm all right.
Mr. Sonneman stays at the end of the bed and watches the exchange. You can, if you just happen to glance back at him, you'd see that he every now and then he looks up the aisle towards where you came from, and he seems to be looking around for somebody, but doesn't seem to have spotted anybody yet.
I kind of try and mouth to him, is Mr. Lighthoof okay? You know, a little bit like, because I care about, you know, he's a real.
He's basically your godfather. Yeah,
he's my godfather. Yeah, I really
Yeah.
care about him. Yeah.
He looks towards you and he gives you a no, but not in the sense of he's not okay. But you can tell, again, going off of the 16-year-old before, you can tell that he hasn't seen him. So it's more of a, it's not more of a no, he's not okay. It's more of he's not here.
We don't. Again,
Or he's not seen him at least.
Bram assumes that he's probably missing or has been taken somewhere else. You know.
Yeah.
You know, and sort of like, again, not fully really, you know, yes, he gets what's going on here, but also the intense emotion of going, I assumed I was an orphan. You know, that entire time I thought both my parents were dead, and I'm having to deal with this now. And also, what should I be Greta? No, I shouldn't be Greta. Greta's got her mum. That's sort of like, but I kind of like, again, I'm nodding at Mr. Solomon, like, yeah. Oh, it's such the sad thing of a young child being trying to be like, I'm a grown up and I'm not upset by this. I'm tough, and you're like, no, Bram, you can cry. This is really, your mum's crying, and you think your mum's the bravest person in the world. This is okay, but yeah, no. Oh, he grew up too fast, Josh. He grew up too fast.
He did.
Yeah.
As you're stood there, as you're embracing your mother, Solomon eventually, his eyebrows raised and he's like, over here, come here now, come here now. And he gets a bit sort of agitated, and it causes your mother to loosen the grip a bit and look up towards Solomon as a person, a human wearing almost basically scrubs, walks up, and you can tell that this is some sort of professional healer, almost like a doctor sort of thing. And he's holding a chart in his hands, and Solomon begins talking to him, and he sort of gestures. You watch as Solomon basically just pulls a massive pouch of gold, or a big coin pouch, slams it down, and he says, whatever it needs, get it done. And this man just looks at him and goes, right, and goes off. And then everything falls into silence again. You are joined by Greta and Mrs. Lighthoof, and you all sit next to your father's bedside, or stand there. There's not much space for extra chairs, but your mother looks a lot more injured than what Mrs. Lighthoof does.
Yeah. I think, again, I'm like, Ma, you're hurt. Go. I'm here. I'll keep an eye on Dad. You know, go get your healing.
She just shakes her head. And you watch as Mrs. Lighthoof moves over to your father, because it's a good hour before the healer comes back. And during that time, your father, every now and then, he sort of squirms, and you can see that he is profusely sweating, should I say. And Mrs. Lighthoof will go over and sort of dab his head down, and every time he moves, your mother looks up at him. But after an hour, she refuses to budge from her position. After an hour, the healer comes back, and he looks towards the pair of you as sort of to suggest, do I talk about this in front of the children? And your mother goes, it is fine. I need to know what is happening. And the healer goes, we've taken some blood samples, and your husband has been poisoned. The poison is a natural poison. It has come from the harpies. So the claw marks that you have on you has poisoned your husband. It looks like yourselves, and gestures towards Mrs. Lighthoof and your mother. Looks like you were able to resist the poisoning, but your husband unfortunately was not. I'm afraid that the harpies poison is a very tricky poison, and we do not have the ingredients here to make an antidote for it. It is a particular type of flower that actually grows on the mountains where the harpies nest. Unfortunately, we don't have the power to. We don't have the. I'm sorry for the derogative term, but we don't have the manpower to send anyone up there. This is kind of why we asked. This is kind of why the mayor of the town asked Solomon to get some adventurers together to get rid of them. Well, I'm afraid there's not much we can do. And your mother sort of slams her bad because she's a badass, slams her bad hand down onto the table. You can see that she winces in pain a little bit at it, but only you notice that because of your close proximity to her. And she looks up at him and she goes, "Well, then I'll go get it."
No, Ma. It's the difference because Brahm wants to go himself, but he's also like, yeah, you don't even have a weapon, Brahm. Look, it's so conflicting because he's like, no, I don't want my dad to die, but I also don't want my mum to die. You know, and I'll come with you.
No,
I don't want to. I don't.
Son, and she gets really stern. Yeah. You will stay here. I need you to look after Greta and I forgot her name, and to Mary. It's the easiest out of the 4 names. I need you to look after. Yeah.
Hey, my name's Abraham. It's a good, solid biblical name.
I need you to look after Greta, and I need you to look after Mary. You may have noticed that Uncle Adwin is not here.
No.
He was taken by the Harpies. Oh. He was attacked and carried away by them.
Look at Mary. Again, it's weird calling her Mary because it's like you show, a sort of, again, just such.
You can see that she looks upset. You can see that she looks physically upset, and and your mother goes, "I'm going to go, and I'm going to get the ingredients needed to cure your father, and I'm going to get your uncle back. And if any of those fucks get in my way, I will smash them with my hammer."
I don't know if I've heard my dad swears, but I don't know if my mum swears.
You've never heard your mother swear, and you've never heard your mother this angry.
Yeah. I put my hand on my heart. It's what soldiers do to soldiers. Bless his heart. He's like, yeah, I've got my orders. She's my commander. She's my mercenary. Yeah, no, I'm going to take care of my family.
And then she just looks at the healer and goes, "How long?" Judging by the rate of the poison spreading throughout his body, I would say that 2 days at the most. It's going to be very fine. And your mother goes, "Right, but then I need to go now then, don't I?" And she just rips the sling off, and she can see her arms in a cast. She goes to put her gauntlet over it, and it doesn't fit over the cast. She's like, She just flexes her arm, and the cast just breaks off and just slams on the floor. You can see that there's veins pulsing all in her arm. She is pissed.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever made my mother properly angry.
You've never seen her this angry. Yeah. But she begins putting her armor on, and you can see that she's wincing in pain, and there is a point where she does go, she kneels down, she goes, "Brahm, could you help me?"
Instantly, I think at the moment she said my name, I'm strapping her. I'm like, right, okay. Yeah, no, I'll take good care of him. I'll make sure everything's...
Stay by his side. Look after Greta and Auntie Mary. I think you've got a bloody name again. It's the easiest one. It's breaking the immersion here.
Yeah.
And look after them. You carry on tying up her pauldrons and fastening her armor clips and the greaves and the gauntlets and everything on. You're obviously a little more careful with the areas that you know are wounded.
Oh, God, yeah.
She picks up her hammer and her shield, and Solomon looks to her and, Are you sure I can send for others, but I can't guarantee they'll get here in time. She's like, I need to do this.
Brahm also shakes his head. Both of us are like, no, okay. I think my most thing was like, I will come with you. No, okay, then fine. Yeah, no, of course you're going to go. Yeah.
She goes to walk out. She picks up her shield and her hammer, and she goes to walk out, and she stops. She turns back to look at you, walks towards you, and unhooks the mace from her side, and she holds it out to you.
Take the mace.
You take the mace, and you're not quite
Yeah.
You don't quite expect how heavy it is, so it doesn't fall to the floor.
Again, so like I think again, look down and then look up with her with just a look of like, when you come back and this is all sorted, this is going to be the sort of thing that you're going to tell to embarrass me. I'll train with this then. It's
you would know that doing something like that would cause your mother to smirk, and she'd make some sort of a quip at it.
Yeah.
She doesn't. She just looks to you and says, use that to protect. It is yours now. It was always designed to be yours. It was repaired and fixed up and polished for you. We didn't even use it when we were out there. It's yours. And she gives you a kiss on the head, and then she leaves before you can say anything.
Yeah. Okay. The hand stays on the heart, and Brahm, I think, for her sort of paladin-y thing, you're like, what the creed of the and because it's the justice bringer, isn't it? It's sort of like, so Brahm is like running through his head, which I assume like the creeds are like assist those who need help, do no damage to those. He's kind of like taking a vow here, where he's like, right, okay, yeah, this is my mother's told me I'm protecting. I'd like to point out this is the thing. He's not like, oh, the two ladies need my protection. He's like, yeah, no, because we are a group and we take care, and that's the thing that my mother would. Any of those four would have fought to the death to protect the other, and that's what's happening. Yeah, no, he's grown up too fast, but yeah, no, he's just like, cool. I know what I'm working towards now, and I think it's going to be a bit of an obsession. So. Yeah, Greta's probably going to have to make sure he goes to bed. That he doesn't just sit there. And you're like, the harpies aren't coming to town, Brahm. You're like, just with the mace between his legs, like, all right, okay. Constantly, like, things in the darkness.
I would say, though, that with the condition that your father is in, that you probably wouldn't go to sleep.
No, I'm going to stay. Yeah, I'm staying.
Yeah, and Greta and both Greta and Mary stay with you as well. Solomon comes and goes. During this 48-hour period, basically. He comes and goes, but he's never away for too long.
Yeah.
And every time he comes back, he either comes back with information on, like, more information on the poison, because he's gone and done some research, or he's come back with food and drink and stuff for all of you. Mary will disappear every now and then to go get fresh towels to help your father. A nurse will come, or another healer will come along and will obviously help with changing dressings and things. And when they do pull the sheets back, you can see that your father has got a terribly gruesome gash going right across his stomach. And you can see that is what is pulsing this like purple poison through his body. And you can see with the covers off that there are purple veins crawling up his body. And then when they put the covers back, obviously you can't see it because it's not above the neck just yet.
I know I'm not playing a ranger, but now if I have a favoured enemy, it's harpies. Where I'm like, cool, I've taken... part of my vow is, again, it's to fight back, the beasts that would cause... Because that's not... That isn't like a hungry creature that's like... I can understand wolves, because wolves are hungry and they work in the packs, and you show them respect, they'll probably be like... They'll eat lambs, that's understandable. This is just cruelty. This is unnecessary cruelty. And to steal like Mr. Lighthoof isn't a great, he's a ranger, he's a spotter, that he shouldn't be in this situation. Yeah. Oh, Josh, Bram's getting some real dangerous ideas in his head. Yeah. But no, you're right. I don't leave. I don't leave. I don't.
As the hours go by, your father has more and more sweat fits, basically, and they start to become few and far between, to the point where his body almost starts seizing at points. And you can see that the veins begin to crawl up the neck area and begin to come up onto his face. I'm going to need you to roll me 2 d20s. These are 2 separate survival checks, and you get a +4 to each of them.
Okay, first one is a 13, which is terribly lucky. And the the other one is a 15. So 13 and a 15.
Okay. As you sit there holding your dad's hand, it gets to the point where your father's skin has turned to a horrible grey colour. Very different to the grey skin of the orc that you saw in the blacksmith. This is almost like a deathly grey. His skin is a lot more gaunt than it was before, and the veins have begun to crawl up over to where his cheeks are, up to his cheeks, and you can see that his breathing is very heavy, and it's as if somebody is. It's as if his chest is being crushed. His breathing is very, very shallow. You hear noise coming from outside of the town. And just as your father takes his last breaths and you feel his pulse and his hand go limp in yours, your mother bursts through the tent. She doesn't even come through the entrance. She just bursts through the tent, holding the head of a Valkyrie.
Valkyrie.
Sorry, the head of a harpy in one hand. These almost beautiful, but at the same time sinister flowers in another. And you can see that your mother has green skin. You wouldn't think it looking at her at the minute. She is caked in blood. There are feathers protruding from her hair. You can't tell if she's any more injured other than the incredibly horrific indentations and scratches on her armor. Her warhammer is broken in one place. Her shield looks like it's been torn in half. She chucks all of that stuff that falls off of her as she slams the herbs down and looks towards your father.
No.
Just as Mary has just finished feeling your father's pulse, looks to your mother and just shakes her head.
No.
Your mother just looks at you, looks at your father, now not breathing, and she collapses on the floor in tears.
And this instills in Brahm. I would have been faster. I could say, I wasn't hurt. He's learnt the wrong lesson from this, where he's just, he doesn't blame her, and he knows that he probably would have been killed, and that would have destroyed her. But he was like, to the day he dies, he's going to think there was always that opportunity that I'm quicker than her. I'm better climber. I could have. And again, I said not blaming the mother, but also him. That hatred has now instilled into him of again, the religious ferocity of going, you must be a protector, and if you die saving others, what an honourable way to go. Just I think if Greta's there and Greta who knows me better can see something in Brahm has died and something hard has formed. But yeah,
as you're all there in this moment, a healer approaches, looks at your father, looks to the herbs. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
The one you saved is up there. He has the same poison.
Oh, God.
We could use the herbs to save him.
Yeah, yes. I speak for... Yes.
Your mother doesn't react.
Yeah, no, I don't
doesn't
expect
even stop
her to.
it.
Yeah, no. Yes,
and
yeah, no.
The herbs the herbs are whisked off. Mary looks to the pair of you, places her hand, goes to walk past, places her hand on your mother's shoulder, squeezes it, and then goes off with Greta and takes Greta with her. Your mother was, unfortunately, your first roll wasn't high enough, which the first roll was to see if she got back in time.
Yeah.
And the second roll was to see if she survived.
Yeah. No, I think this is...
And to see if she brought... I should have got you to do a third roll to see if she brought your uncle with her, but...
I think this is great, and I think this is... Also speak practical... You know, he's practical now.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. No, of course he... I don't want this on, you know, Greta.
Yeah.
You know, of course, I don't want her to lose. Yeah. And my dad wouldn't want to die, but I honestly didn't think they were coming back. You know, I accept that. This is, you know, I spent the last 2 days with him and talking to him and like telling him stories about himself, but also like of the elves, you know, of like the princesses and the, you know, it's just.
And he ate it up. He always loved the way that you were able to tell him stories, even though he was the storyteller.
Yeah.
He just loved hearing what you tell, even if you recited his own stuff to him.
It's the compliment.
Just loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he ever conscious, or was he just he was
basically in a coma the entire time.
But yeah, no, I stayed. I'm gonna try and get my mother to get her wounds checked.
We'll sort of speed along.
Yeah.
From this bit, she will eventually. Yeah, this is where we're going to do the time skip. She will eventually. She gets herself checked out. Mr. Lighthoof, Adwin, was very seriously injured. He actually ended up losing one of his arms because of it. They had to, before they were able to, while they were trying to make the remedy, the poison was spreading up his arm, and in order to try and stop it, they had to take his arm off. Unfortunately, where your father's wound was, it was in his chest area, so it's not like they could amputate anything to stop it.
I will add that when he comes in, he has my mother's scarf tied around his arm because she taught me that if you get poison, sometimes you need to remove it. So she herself has cauterized the
she's tried to cauterize she's tried to stop the poison from spreading further, and then the doctors have taken it one step.
She saved his life, you know.
Yeah. You spend another week, maybe 2 weeks in Mythcrest while funeral preparations are sorted out. It is decided that your father will be cremated because you never had a home, actual home that you stayed at. So it was your mother deemed that your father would travel with you everywhere. So his ashes are placed into 2 pendants, one that you carry, one that your mother carries. Sealed pendants, you can't open them or anything.
No,
it's the phoenix has the pendant has the wings of the phoenix on the engraved within it with the instrument, your father's lute, engraved in as well. So it's like your mother and father sort of thing.
That's, I think, weirdly, like that's my family seal. That's as far as Bram's concerned. Like, if when Bram becomes a mercenary, that's his insignia. That's what he's going to put on the, you know.
And you part ways with Greta and with Mr. and Mrs. Lighthoof, your godparents.
I'm very grateful to them both.
Yeah.
I'm very, you know, don't blame them.
Solomon pays you. Well, not you, but pays for the 100 gold each to each of you. But he also offers compensation to your mother for losing your for the loss of your father, and your mother refuses that extra gold because they would have done the job regardless. All of the research that Solomon had done was correct. It's just they were caught off guard.
I think if I get a chance of maybe give it to. I don't want to tell you what to do, Mr. Solomon. Maybe give it to the hospital, to make sure they're stocked up in case.
He gives you a big, broad, warm smile, which is the first time you've had one properly since it all happened. You're a good one, boy. I will certainly do that.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon. Again, thank you for your kindness over the last few weeks. Much appreciated, and hopefully I'll see you again. Not too soon, but in a while. Thank you again.
I wish you all the best. And he nods, and you leave. And as you leave, the mists of memories envelop you. No, you don't end up in Barovia. But
surprise.
You were 12 at this point.
Yeah. How sad was the goodbye to Greta?
Very sad, because you both knew that it would be a long time before you saw each other again, unless you travelled through where they were living.
Yeah.
Which was the town of Grimport, which is far to the west side of the north Idorune. You would likely to not see her probably ever again, because you're heading south.
Yeah, I assume that their adventuring days are over now. He's,
Yes.
So there's no postal service, is there?
Yeah.
There's. I think I'll write to you when I get a chance. I mean, I don't know where I'm going to be, but I'll send you letters. I'll send you drawings of the nice plants I see.
Okay, yeah. And she's like, yes, yeah, okay. And you sort out sending letters to each other. Every time you send her a letter, you let her know of the next location you're going to be at, so that she can forward the letter to there, and then you go pick it up. That happens for about 3 years, and then she stops sending letters. There's no more.
It just stops.
It just stops. You carry on sending her letters, but she doesn't.
I keep going, and then I think again. I don't want to keep adding. I try to ask my mum if it's weird if I just going. Well, I mean, if she's not responding, maybe she's got herself a beau. Then maybe she's probably forgotten about me.
Your mother isn't the same after.
No. Yeah.
She becomes a lot harder, and the training with her becomes more intense. She's training you to protect yourself, so this sort of thing doesn't happen to you.
Do you think then it wouldn't have been a good idea to talk about basically my girlfriend to her? Is she?
No, you can. You would still talk to her about. She's not. She wouldn't be like cold towards you about it or anything like that. Yeah. But she would definitely. She's like the sort of family events that you would do after dinner, like playing instruments. Yeah. That sort of stuff has stopped. She doesn't do that stuff anymore. Anything to do with music, she sort of stays away from. She's more combat focused, but she's still a caring parent.
I still work on that, and it's not probably as good because I don't have him, but I build the loot. I've got his hat. I build the loot. I practice, but again, it's that sort of thing of like going, I learned as a child, but it's not so good when you don't have that person there to go, that's a bit sharp, that's a bit, And also, I don't want to play it too close to my mum because it will upset her. But Brahm crawling off into the woods to play like sad songs, sort of. I realise I'm going because I'm dressed like a cowboy. It's like it's all about lost loves, and you're like, this is the last battle, and you're like, sort of the sad bardic songs.
Yeah. We get to. You were 12 at this point, so we get to 7 years later. So you're 19.
No, 19.
19 at this point. You're now in the southern Idorune region, and you're in the swamp town of Erethinis. You've been here for a few months, which is probably the longest you've ever stayed in one place, which is startling to you. It's gotten to the point now where you're taking jobs as a ferryman, basically going between ferrying people through the marshlands and earning a little bit of extra gold so that you can upkeep the house. One morning.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Brahm is now 6'4", broad, but still got like very delicate sort of like hands because of the elven stuff, but like big, big Brahm. He's like, hello. Still quite soft spoken, but big, big boatman Brahm. Yeah,
big boatman Brahm. But one day, you come back to the hut that you and your mother are sharing, and you find that she's not there.
Right.
There's a letter.
Oh.
And something that you thought you would never see ever again. Your father's hat, the hat that he changed for when he gave you the hat that you were wearing. She's left that on the side.
Oh.
And she's put that she's had to go away to take care of some things. But she'll be back.
For the podcast listeners, Brahm has now swapped hats. Brahm is now wearing his I'm a grown-up adventurer.
I got a grown-up hat.
I'm wearing my grown-up hat. Yeah. I think, again, there's like slight sort of tears in it. Like, oh god, yeah, he was wearing this when he died. Get a hat. Yeah.
You can see that it had tears in it.
Oh,
but they've been sewn.
Stitched. Yeah.
They've been stitched. Just like your mother has cared for this hat in the years since. And you wait for a year.
Oh, jeez.
And your mother doesn't come back.
I write a letter to the Light Hoofs at some point. And I'm like, not write one to Greta, but also to Mr. and Mrs. Lighthoof and go, have you... I know they won't, but have you heard? I also think I'll write to Mr. Solomon, because I'm like, sir, very formal, like, sir, you might... It's weird, he's like, you might remember me. You're like, of course he'll remember you, but just... Yeah, no, this is... She wouldn't just leave me. This is something terrible's happened. So, again, it takes a year, but I'm still trying to pass it out.
Yeah.
I assume nothing.
You get nothing back from either party, mainly because you didn't actually know where Solomon's actual residence was. So it would be a case of you would send it to Mythcrest and sort of hope he's there.
I think I sent it to like the tavern at Mythcrest, like care of. And then I'm like, I don't really know if his first name was... I just knew him as Mr. Solomon. Just like, to Solomon. And I was like, a little bit like, stupid, Brahm, stupid. You don't... This is how you get in this mess. You don't pay attention. Do Lighthoofs at least send me a letter, or I hear absolutely nothing?
You get nothing from them either.
Brahm has a bit of a panic attack. He's like, okay, I understand that Greta's probably like found a boyfriend or a girlfriend and has moved on, but they wouldn't just... Because they would just... Okay, oh shit, okay, think. Right, I don't know where she's gone. I don't know where... Okay, they moved to the west, that's miles away. Oh, okay, think. Is there anyone near the swamp who they might have mentioned, or a kind of like, because I assume we never went down this far previously.
You've been all over. Yeah. You've been all over Idorune. You've been south. You've been north.
Right.
Erethinus is probably the one place that you probably went to once before this time, because of how hard the swampland is normally to traverse.
Right. But I can't think of any, like, mercenary... Again, there's sort of, like, there's not a guild, or there's not...
Not here, anyway, no.
So, as far as I know, I'm completely on my own now.
Here, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So, my mother's been gone a year.
Yeah.
Sort of. Again, that panic attack was, like, very... It's happening over the year. And Brahm is constantly like, right... You're not the smartest, and you know that, and that's fine. But your dad taught you cunning, and your parents taught you survival, and your mother taught you to be hard. So, you're going to have to think. So, like, trying to, like, a little bit as... Because they said, like, I'm travelling back and forth. Not, oh, have you seen my parents? But a little bit of, like, asking about other cities, and a little bit of, like, asking people for work. I don't want to live here. This is what I don't like. A soft bed. It's weird. I know it's the swamp, but it's weird.
It's at this point during this time that you would, and this is a separate adventure, so we're not going to go too much into detail with it right now, but it's at this point that you would meet a green scaled or emerald scaled dragonkin by the name of Lily, who has in a way been orphaned. I won't go into too much detail because there will be a separate adventure that will come out for it, but you basically take her in almost like a sister.
I do this. So you're an orphan. I'm an orphan too. You know. Yeah. So yeah, I transfer the fraternal emotions that I had for Greta, which suddenly changed, onto this. Like, hey, I've got this dragonkin friend now. Yeah. So. Yes, that's a story for another time, folks.
That's a story for another time. But you live together you stay in Erethinis for a little while, and then one day you travel down to the tavern that's in Erethinis, and you see somebody who looks vaguely familiar, sitting at the bar, a lot older, with a much longer tail, but it's 100% Greta there, sitting at the bar. You can tell her from a mile away.
Has she noticed me?
She's staring at you as you walk in.
Hello.
Well, you got big, didn't you?
I worked out. Well, your tail grew in.
It did, yes. And she walks over to you, and she shouldn't run over to you, but she walks over to you and she gives you a big hug.
Yeah,
it's been 10 years, 9 years. It's been a long time. How are you doing?
I'm good. I wrote to you. I assumed you moved. You moved out. I'm sorry. Sorry. No, I'm fine. A lot's happened in the 10 years, as you can. How are you, Ma? Do you want a drink? I'll get you a drink. Shall I?
Yes, of course. Yes, thank you.
Just again, perhaps it goes up to the bar. Sorry. What do you want to drink, Miss Gret? Like, what would you like to drink?
I'll just have a water, please. She smiles at you.
Yeah.
She knows a scam.
Yeah. Yeah, I get a water. I also get water. I mean, I've been out on the boat all day, so I'm like, oh no, I'm so stinky. But yeah, I think because the whole swamp smells bad. It's just like, so many years of just working here. Yeah, put it down. Yeah, no. Oh, great. I've got something. Why are you here? Sorry, that's not probably the best. Tell me about yourself. Go on.
Well, she's not alone, Mr. Abraham.
Oh, no.
Standing behind you, walking around, is Solomon. Mr. Solomon.
Mr. Solomon. Oh, hello. How are you, sir? Can I get you a drink? Good. Do you also want water?
He's got an ale in his hand.
That's what I like to see. That's good. No, please. Yeah, no. It's a gesture. Take a seat. How can I help you folks?
How are you doing?
My ma's gone somewhere.
I've heard, yes. Yeah. I've been keeping tabs on all of your movements. The Light Hoofs contacted me and asked to be relocated. So I moved them down to where I'm currently staying, where I've taken up residence. And your mother made a communication with me about 6 months ago, asking for a boat ticket to take her across the waters.
No, that doesn't make sense. The Kraken's out there. That's she wouldn't.
No, not that far. She was going to the Tarragon Isles. I'm not sure why, but
she didn't tell me that. Right. Okay. Well, at least I know At least I know she's alive. At least I know she's... Can I make a history roll on the Tarragon Isles about why she would...
You can make a roll on the Tarragon Isles, yeah, make a history check.
Yeah.
You can use normal brand stats now.
now I am fully grown.
I'm a grown boy.
A grown boy. History, that's a 17.
So you know that the Tarragon Isles are to the east of the continent. They are still within the tectonic plates of the continent of Idorune, so it doesn't class as being in deep sea. So you can travel between the Isles and this continent. You just can't travel past the Isles. That's where the tectonic rift, sort of like it dips into the deep sea sort of thing. That's where all the issues are at the minute with sea travel and all that sort of stuff. You know that the Tarragon Isles is home to the Tarragon Imperium, or just the Imperium as it's known as, which is a sort of like almost like a warlike nation, and they have basically taken over the entire isle, mined it for all of its resources, built buildings upon buildings upon buildings upon it, and are looking to expand. And they have started a war basically with the north of Idorune and taken a section of it for themselves, and are basically trying to push their way into the north of Idorune. You know that the north is controlled by the Dimigan Empire, which is mainly like a dwarven empire that's been in existence for as long as you can remember, as long as the history books go, as far as you're aware. But they haven't tried attacking the south at all, mainly because of the defences of the desert city of Abacathis, which is on the west coast at the bottom. It's very difficult to get. It would be very difficult to try and attack that with a full force army sort of thing. So, and with the rising that happened a few years ago where the Undead rose and attacked the the east side of southern Idorune, which is where Solomon has come from. The Imperium aren't looking to take the south anytime soon. It's a bit of a wasteland to them at the minute.
I think, he's like, took it there to Tarragon Night. You sort of sit again, Bram's eyes sort of going, like we're just processing all of it. And again, he's a pretty open book that you can see the concern, the confusion, and also the deep hurt that is like, no, she wouldn't go fight without me. We're a team.
She's never mentioned it to you before, the Imperium, so you don't know what her connection to it is, or even if she does have a connection with the Imperium. It could just be that she's gone there to see someone, or
get someone out,
or something. You're not 100% sure because it's never been mentioned. So,
right, that's concerning news, Mr. Solomon.
It is. That's not why I've come here. No, it's not. I was wondering, and he taps your mace with his stick. I was wondering if you carried on your training. Did your mother teach you more? Or did you carry on after she left?
Yeah. Daily. To be ill prepared is not to be prepared at all. And yes, no, sir. No, I would consider myself a competent fighter.
Good. Right. Well, I have a job for you then, if you're up for it.
Oh, right. Yes, sir.
And he looks towards Greta, who sort of leans forward. Where we're currently living in the town of Merkstead.
Right.
Merkstead's been hit quite hard by, or was hit quite hard by the rising. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of our population, and we're currently trying to rebuild. There's a lot of guard that have gone back to the city of Ostragos. For the audience, there'll be a map so you can see all these locations. And it has allowed for raiders and bandits to settle within the mountains and in the local areas, but in particularly a group known as the Reavers. They are a particularly bad group, and recently they have taken someone that we care deeply for. Looks towards Solomon, who sort of gives a stern nod, and we are currently going around and recruiting people to help us get them back, because again the town is very low on people to help, people power.
Brahm says heroes. just tries to say people. Brahm says heroes.
She gives a light grin to that.
Again,
sort of remembering, it's almost as if looking at 12-year-old Greer when she lets out that smile.
Yeah. Bram's heart shatters a little bit that he's been keeping this together, but it's that sort of thing of like going, we've hugged, but we're keeping this professional. And neither of them have responded when I was like, I wrote letters to you. You know, I wouldn't say he's clingy, but he's got so few people in his life. And he's like, I thought these two people could play him, but this is professional.
Yeah.
There's no time to cry.
Solomon does actually sort of pipe up on that. He goes, the only reason we were able to find where you were is because I happened to come across one of the letters from Mythcrest. It was somebody forwarded it down to me. It was a few years too late, I'm afraid. But this is where I was able to determine your mother's trajectory and work out that you were here.
Apologies, sir. I didn't know where you were, and I confess I was desperate. I was for the first time in my life, I was truly alone, and I look at Greta. I also apologise for sending you so many letters. That was
I'm just sorry I didn't tell you that we were moving. I didn't get a chance to forward one on. It was so quick.
Are your parents in this new town then? Are they
yes, well? Yes. And Solomon goes, yes. They asked to be relocated to Merkstead, so I had them shipped, as it were, because they sailed down to Merkstead.
Well, that's that makes me feel mighty good. I'm glad to hear. I also assume the Rising kind of missed me up here.
The Rising happened at this point. It would be it's 10 years ago. It would have been 10 years ago when the main campaign happened, and you're 20 years old now, so it was about 6 years ago that it happened. So you were still traveling south when it happened with your mother. So it was about a year after your father died.
Yeah, but so we didn't run into the undead at that point.
No, you didn't run into it at that point.
And so
you might have run into like the odd stray of undead sort of things. You've seen undead, but not an army of them.
But like looking at the map, where I was like, I was on the outskirts, so I didn't fully. Yeah, I didn't witness vampires, you know.
No, you didn't witness like swarms of zombies sort of attacking the towns and things like that. You sort of caught more of the remnants of what happened, what was left of certain towns and things. And Erethinus was very untouched because of the swamp-like location that it's in. So
I am going into this understanding like these two have basically gone through a war zone, and I can appreciate that. And again, would never make light of it. You know, it isn't like, I've had a lovely. We've all had hard lives, but in different ways, and I am generally delighted. And that's I completely understand. I'm still hurt that the letter didn't get to me, but I understand. And you know, and I'd say this hardened version of Bram's like, communications go down. And be like, well, why didn't you get in touch? She's like, well, she's here now. I think I would say, okay, Bram's not a genius, but he's not stupid. And he's like, the fact she's here, Mr. Solomon could have come by himself. The fact she's also here means a lot. Yeah. So, yeah. Yes, so I'm just like, no, yes, no. I think from what you're saying, you do require fighters. You know, especially if the guard aren't. Yes, no, I'll be happy to. Looking slightly at Greta, like a little bit like, are you going to be there too? No. I'll be happy.
Well, I hear you're a bit of a ferryman around these parts.
Yes, sir.
It's early morning. Let's leave now.
Give me 5 minutes and I'll be down. It's Dock 7. Yeah, the Phoenix. Again, folks, it's like it's almost a raft, but he's named it because one name doesn't like the open water, but you name your ship. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you go back up to your hut to fetch your stuff.
Right, loot. Nice. Yeah, hat. I've got 2 hats. My dad's hat also is like, and spare hat. Plan ahead. Right. Literally, Brahm is packed in 5 minutes. He is.
Yeah.
Been ready to go for years.
Okay. As you go to leave, you remember something.
Oh.
Lily.
Oh shoot, Lil. Right. Where's she?
She's asleep.
Oh damn. Lily, wake up.
She's snoring very loudly.
trying to like pinch her nose. Lily, wake up.
She sort of, her long sleeves sort of hit you in the face as she sort of shoos you off, and she sort of tightens up and pulls the blanket that she's got on her right up and sort of snuggles it. She's in a deep sleep.
Oh, I can't leave her. Right. Okay. What? Remind me what the name of the town is.
Erethinis is the name of this town.
But the one we're going to.
Merkstead.
Dear Lily. Again, just like, no, dear Lily, it's Brahm here. Draw such a quick little sketch. Like, she knows who I am, but like, little orcish Lily is. I have been summoned by Mr. Solomon, brackets, I have mentioned him, and pause, someone else. I don't know how much I've mentioned, but like, it's a bit embarrassing. We are heading to the town of Merkstead. I tried to wake you up, but you slapped me in the face and said, "Bugger off, I'm trying to sleep." I wouldn't normally leave you, but I think we are on a bit of a time limit. There are some people who need rescuing, and it is up to me to be a hero. Please come and join me in the town. They require smart people and adventurers, brackets, heroes, exclamation mark. I've left the food. Please come join me. Please send a letter if you cannot find me. Be brave, be safe, watch your back. Brahm, brackets, Horde, close brackets.
Okay, so you leave that letter.
Yeah.
You leave the hut. You make your way down to Dock 7. You have a brief discussion with Solomon, and Solomon sets up a way for Lily to be able to get to Merkstead.
I'm like, a little bit like, it's complicated, Mr. Solomon. I've sort of become a champion, and again, how does Greta look? About the fact?
Annoyed, but she tries to hide it.
I'm not going to let her know that I know. That's.
But she knows that you know that she knows that she knows
God,
that you know.
God. I also, having looked at her, does she have a much bigger satchel now? Does she?
Oh, she's still got the same satchel. Like, she's got which looks quite small on her now, but she has a much bigger one underneath it.
So, she's a healer. I can tell that she's.
Yeah, she's definitely gone down her mother's footsteps. Followed in her mother's footsteps.
That's again that.
Or hoof steps.
Yeah, hoof steps.
Yeah.
So I think that's something we said. Mother doesn't have. She has hooves. Mother didn't.
But Mother doesn't. No, they're the same. They're both Capra or goat folk, but they don't always share the same animalistic traits.
How tall is she now?
She's probably standing at about 5'5", so she's as tall as what you were when you were 12.
Yeah. And then there's 6'4" Brahm. He's like, I'm a giant. Which actually, again, where you're talking about the origins of orcs, where like the giant blood's filtered in. Okay, I'm not going to deal with it. I can't. There'll be time for us to talk about Lily later, and I'm not. Naughty Brahm. Naughty Brahm is keeping secrets from so many people in his life. That's not what a good hero does. Yes, I help Mr. Solomon into the boat. I help Greta into the boat. hop up on the back, get the pole, cast off. Yeah.
You cast off.
Yeah.
And you make your way out of Erethinis, and you start traveling towards Merkstead. Now, in order for you to get to Merkstead, you leave Erethinis through the swampland area, and you travel to the village of Mestus. From Mestus, you carry on traveling along the Iron Road till you get to Crow's Reach, and then from Crow's Reach, you travel south down towards Merkstead. Again, the map doesn't do it justice, but this is probably just over a month of travel. It's a long, long time, and you get the opportunity to really reconnect with Greta. You find out a lot more about her. Unfortunately, her father has passed away in the years since. They were all able to relocate to Merkstead, but old age sort of got him, and he passed away. Her mother is sort of old age. It was more old age and injury sustained.
Yeah, he got
on that
poisoned
day
quite badly. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, he ended up passing away, but her mother's still going strong. Has set up a herbalist shop in the town of Merkstead, and Greta works there as a healer. Well, she works there as a herbalist, and then she works for Solomon at Solomon's mercenary company. He's currently got it named. She works there as a full-time healer, so she'll heal the mercenaries when they come back from their various jobs. Basically, what Solomon has done is he has invited you to become a member of Solomon's mercenary company, SMC. And when you eventually do get to Merkstead, you can see that it is a town that is being rebuilt currently. It's being reconstructed. And as you get back, Greta will take you to where she lives. You have a lovely reunion with her mother.
What's her mother's name? Hey, Josh.
Mary.
Yay, you got it.
I got it. You have a lovely reunion with Mary. Greta takes you to where her father's buried, which is in the local graveyard, and you pay your respects.
I do, yeah.
And it's she then takes you to the mercenary company headquarters, basically. And there, Solomon meets you, and he introduces you to the team that are going to be traveling with you. The team consists of a clerical type person called Adele Lockwood, a wizard named Mazar Stargem, and a warrior. He looks like a warrior. You can't tell if he's a fighter or a ranger or something like that. But this person's name is Greg, basically.
Just Greg.
He calls himself Greg, but he's actually called Gregus.
I'll call him Greg, yeah.
Yeah, he just says, call me Greg.
Pleasure to meet you, Brahm.
No, my name's Greg.
Oh. Nice to meet you, Greg.
You can tell he's not on the intelligence side.
Yeah.
But
I like him, though. I like all of them, I think. Yeah.
And
we all like similar age? We all sort of 20s or this more.
Mazar is a lot older.
Yeah.
So he's a older human wizard with big long beard. He's got a hood. He wears blue robes, which has a hood on it, and he has a wooden construct that follows him around called Woodstock.
Oh.
And he's very chatty, and he tells you all about a thing called Golomancy, and how he's learnt it at school, and how he was able to craft this wooden construct that does his bidding, and then he shows you how Woodstock moves around and basically picks up a tray of food and brings it over to him, and all of this sort of stuff.
Again, Brahm doesn't. It's not like Brahm doesn't get it. It's like it's a wizard thing, but he's like it's fascinating. It's just that, and I think because Bram's such a sort of open, friendly person, where he's like, if you want to talk my ear off, that's fine. You're just like, also love Woodstock. Woodstock's just a delight, and he's like, that's very clever. That's very impressive indeed. Very useful.
And Adele is a cleric to Athion the Galekeeper, so she's Her shield has got feather angel wings on it with a tome in the center with an eye on it, and she wears a lot of like blues and whites. And she's probably in her 40s, so all of these are quite experienced adventurers. You're definitely the youngest of the group,
Right.
and Solomon basically lays out a plan and tells you what the mission is. The mission is that the Reavers have raided the town before they came to get you. The Raiders have raided the town and taken a lot of the harvest stock for themselves, more than what they needed. They could have quite easily just traded with these people, but no, they decided to take it all. The city of Ostragos has refused to send any guards down to deal with it, so it's down to Solomon and the mayor who you meet. The mayor is a gold-scaled dragonkin called Merida. And
pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. Yes, pleasure to meet you. Yes, and she reminds you of your mother in a way because she's very hard ass, but she's more cold than what your mother is.
Does she shake my hand at least when
she shakes your hand? Yeah.
But I almost feel like I'm being sized up right at the moment. Yeah. Brahm stands firm, tall, small smile. Right.
Nods. Nope. Yeah. And you are told what the mission is. You need to go into the encampment that there is, and you need to retrieve the food stocks and bring it back. Preferably without killing anybody, because that would just bring more fire onto the town. However, it's not completely forbidden. So if you need to protect yourselves, then protect yourself, sort of thing.
So you're saying because they raided, and then before Solomon, and that was a month ago.
That was a month ago.
Have they raided again?
They've raided since as well, so they've taken more food stock.
So it has been that sort of thing of like Seven Samurai going, look, this is going to keep happening unless we... And also because you say it's a new town that doesn't have heroes. So Bram's
an old town that's just very short on population at the minute.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So, every time you say bandits or raiders, Bram's eyes like he's like, because again, it's like worst. As you said, the moment you're like, oh yeah, they could have traded, and like, it's not honourable.
No. Yeah. And you're told that the mission is going to be dangerous. Solomon doesn't hide that fact from you. He does give you, again, as you've experienced, he gives you all of the details. He's been able to get scouts out to sort of map the area, so you've got a full detailed blueprint of how to get through and where the stocks are kept and everything like that. So he hasn't misled you in that regard. He's not misled you in any regard, to be fair, but you are to go out tomorrow evening. He wants you all to have a chance, especially you with the amount of travel that you've done. He wants you to have a chance to rest before going. So you'll go under the cover of night as a cover, obviously. Go get some rest.
Also, we'd like to put out for D&D people, we're not doing dark side, so it's not like we're all going to travel fine in the dark. It's going to be, yes, sir. Right, cover of night. Right. Thank you, Mr. Son.
Luck, all of you, and may the Guardians bless all of you.
And also with you. Brahm sort of walks out and he's like a little bit like, I don't know where I'm going. Just like
Greta's with you. Greta came to the meeting with you as well, and she takes you back to her mum's house, and you're put up in one of the rooms, and you're able to get asleep.
Hooray!
Hooray! During the night, you hear a faint knock on the door.
Hello?
The door opens, and Greta is stood in the doorway.
Hi, Greta. You all right?
She nods, walks over to the bed and sits on it.
Shuffle. I think Brahm has pajamas on. I think it's the sort of like it's the weird thing of like I'm sleeping in a bed, and because I wouldn't say he's got soft over the last few years, but he's just like
I've just got a picture of this big 6 foot, really broad orcish guy with big tusks doing hi, in his like rubber ducky pajamas, going, hi, Greta.
It's a little bit like, I think, like, yeah, I don't think it's a rubber duck, but it's something also like very stripy, like, yeah, I don't, it's not the sort of thing you want the cute goat girl to see you in. And I think, like, when he's been traveling, he's been wearing sort of like almost being like in his vest and a little bit of like going, oh, look how swole I am, and now he's wearing pajamas. Yeah, as she sits there, oh, hello.
And she just moves closer to you, leans in, gives you a kiss,
I kiss her back,
and then we fade to black. On that, I don't think we need to go anymore. We know what happens.
Again, I'm not going into detail, but he's very happy. It's sort of like he's a soft boy as well. And sort of like, again, not going into too much details, but he's a polite young man. And yeah, no, he's very happy. And also he's aware that our mom's in the next room. Because I've never been here, but it's almost like when you come back from college and you're in the childhood bedroom and you're like, oh, this is weird. Yeah, no.
Next day. No, well, next evening, should I say? Yeah. You're able to spend a day with Greta. Getting new preparations ready and all of that sort of stuff, and then in the evening you head out with your new teammates.
Before I head out, I do sort of like a little bit like, saying goodbye to Greta, and I was like, oh, I don't want them to know, but I was like, I'll be back, and I put the black hat sort of on her head, and I was like, that's alone. I'll be back for that shortly.
As you all turn to walk away, the Gregus just sort of elbows you in the side and he goes, oh, I see. Oh, look,
my dad said if you want to get ahead, get a hat, and I happened to notice that Miss Lighthoof didn't have a hat, and I'm worried about her complexion. As Red comes into the orcish.
If you want to get head, get a hat.
That's not what I said, Greg.
I'm going to have to try that.
Greg, no! It's just, again, this poor 20-something boy is like, oh no! Oh, I thought I was so smooth. Yeah.
I know that this has gone over, but we need to do this bit, so...
You don't have to, Josh. We could let him be happy.
We can do. Yeah, let's let him be happy.
Let's do it. It's not poppety enough. Let's go.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have to explain to the other people when Brahm turns up again what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. You carry on. You begin climbing up the mountain towards where you know the bandit camp is. You're not taking the beaten path, as it were. You're sort of more climbing than anything because you want to avoid being seen. And it's about 10 minutes into your travel that you realise that there are some torchlights and everything coming down the path. You sort of hunker down and you see about 20 candle lights, or torchlights, should I say, go past, heading down towards Merkstead. You stop to think, maybe we need to turn back, but Gregus is like, we need to carry on. We've been given a mission.
Well, we gotta stop. They're going to attack the village, the town. We gotta.
I know, but we've been told that we need to do this, so let's carry on.
I look at the other two.
They both just sort of shrug and like, we've got a job to do. There are some people that can fight in the town.
Okay.
They've been raided twice before. They've been raided twice before recently, and they've been raided many times before that since the rising happened, so...
All right. Well, then we're making sure they don't have anywhere to come back to. When they do come, we claim the camp and we drive them back. Yeah,
okay.
Go.
Right, let's go. And you carry on up. About an hour or so later, you have to stop again because you can see the torchlights coming back up, and you can hear the loud sounds of laughing and giggling, and you can hear some whimpers as well. and you see the gates of the sort of almost like wooden fort that they've built in this encampment is what I'm looking for. You watch as the doors shut, or the gates shut. You know for a fact that wasn't the entranceway. You know that there is a small little divot that you can crawl through to get into the camp area. It requires you to sort of climb up onto a ledge. Let's hit my mic. In order to climb and tells you to climb up onto a ledge and then slide down into a divot sort of thing, and then you can get in. So you carry on. As you begin looking around, you go instantly towards where the stores are kept, and you can see that in the middle of the camp, through the tents and things, there seems to be some sort of a party going on, but you can hear cries as well. And your companions are able to grab the food stocks. They put them on their shoulders and are like, "We're getting out of here." So they leave. They begin leaving.
Yeah. Again, I'm trying. They've got people. They've got prisoners.
That's not our problem. That's not what we were paid for.
That doesn't matter if we're paid for. It's the right thing to do.
Well, you can go be a hero if you want, but we're getting out of here and getting paid. And they begin leaving.
Yeah. Okay. Adjusts every, and again, I think sort of like he hasn't had a huge mercenary career, but folks, me and Josh talked about this. He's like the Doctor. He's not, at the moment he hears a child crying, he's like, I've got to say, he's, again, capital H hero. He's gonna go save his people because he knows what, to be honest, he knows what it's like to have lost both his parents. Even though she left years later, it's not right. And it's a nice town. It's a nice town with nice people, and they've gone through a lot. So yeah, Bram's gonna be a hero.
Okay, so are you going to sort of bull in a china shop your way through, or are you just gonna?
I'm gonna attempt to stealth because.
Okay, make me a stealth check.
Yeah, I mean he's not the best, and I think it's at disadvantage because I'm wearing heavy armor. It's fun. I've rolled a 5 both times, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you go to walk forward, and as you get close to where the tents are, and you can see that there are people. You can see people dancing around. There's these reavers are cooking food. They're eating some of the stock that they've pulled forward that is obviously wasn't in the stocks. And you can see that there is almost like a throne, and sitting on the throne is a 5-foot tall dwarven gentleman, very stockily built, with dark skin and sort of dreadlocks that go back. His beard is plaited in places, and he has a crossbow that he's sort of leaning on like an armrest. And as you go to step forward, you notice Greta trips on a tent peg and just goes barreling through.
Yeah, literally just barrel, and I think cold, because I've got the mace and the shield, which isn't my mother's shield, but I've tried to do the design on. It's a bit, just clock them with the shield, and Bram's starting a bar fight basically. Yeah.
The mace that you have, I should say, is a +1 mace, so you can have that. +1 weapons in this campaign are not magical. That's just how well crafted they are.
I think that's and yes, Bram has spent all these years, again, he's worked on his training, he's worked on the upkeep of this. This weapon is not pristine because it has been used, but he knows to oil it and to get so shall I roll an attack roll?
Yes, you're flailing around, so make me an attack roll. It will be with advantage because you're flailing around, you're going to hit something.
25 to hit.
That definitely hits.
Yeah.
Roll some damage.
I'll roll that's 9 points of damage.
So as you come barreling in and you just smash your mace sort of clock your mace around, stumbling as you go, sort of losing your momentum a bit. Your mace would have hit one of the reavers in the head. Because you stumbled, you actually clip them in the shoulder, but this causes them to jerk in a very painful way, falling into one of their comrades and then falling into the tent, causing the tent to fall down on them. You do carry on with the momentum and you fall to the floor in front of this entire group. There is probably about 50 bandits here.
Shit.
And you just see Greta go, Ram, no! And she gets grabbed and pulled back, and you just watch the guy on the throne just sort of he looks towards you, licks his lips a bit, and spits down on the floor. What do we got here then? Little interloper who thinks are fun. What are you doing here, scumbag? He sort of pulls himself off of the throne, leaves his crossbow there, but begins walking towards you.
You let these people go. We've got no argument with you.
Why would I do that?
Can I make an insight roll? Because Brahm basically let's see how it goes, because his roll the insight, dirty 20. Bram's thing is like, what would you do? Because Brahm basically says, if you don't, I will fucking kill you. You know? But he's also like, if you play this smart, so the dirty 20, what do I think this guy would be like if I try to intimidate him? Is it the sort of thing he'd be like, you're on your knees, or he's like, hey, you've got bollocks?
So do you actually say, well, I'm going to kill you?
Yeah. You know, what you going to do? If you don't, I'll fucking kill you.
He walks right up to you, laughs, and kicks you, which causes you to sort of go across the floor a bit. He's got a bit of strength to him. Well, you think you're going to kill me, and you think you're going to take my men on?
I do.
You're some sort of fucking idiot.
Some people would say, come on, you know, you look like you want a fair fight. It's...
What? Sorry, cat got your tongue, big boy?
Weirdly flirty. No. Oh, right. You took what you... I'm not going to waste words with you, sir. It's just...
The name's Kimdak.
Nice to meet you, Kimdak, Brahm Shatteroak. I'm the man who's going to kill you. You let these people go.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And what do I get if I let these people go? Come on, entice me. Tell me something that's going to make me that's going to make me quiver in my boots and bow to you. Come on, give me something.
I'll be your man. You leave that town alone, or I'm your man.
I don't need any more men. And he looks around. I've got plenty.
I
definitely don't need any. I definitely don't need any weak sauce like you.
I look at Greta and look incredibly apologetic. My arms are still free, right?
Yeah, you're not restrained or anything.
Yeah, sorry, Gret, and then just clot. You know, I'm starting the. Yeah. Oh, you weak sauce. It's not a pride thing. It's like I'm going to take down as many men as I do. I just because they're not restrained. It's just they've been throwing people around.
They've just been sort of throwing them around. They're not tied up or anything.
So the beats are: I look at Greta, look apologetic, mouth, I'm so sorry, scream, run, and then swing to hit one of the raid. You know, hit them in the face with the mace again.
So you do that. You swing and smack Kimdak in the side of the face. I'm going to need an attack roll, and I'm going to need to load his stats up. I didn't think you were going to go this route. Yep, attack him.
17.
17. As you go to hit him with the mace, your mace makes contact with his head. His head does not move, and it's almost like it pings off. Unfortunately, it misses, and he just looks at you. You can see that there's a bit of blood from where the mace has impacted the side of his head, but it's not actually causing him any damage. His AC's higher than 17. And you see at this moment, Greta takes this opportunity to bolt it, and she runs for where you know the others got out. He just looks at you and goes, pathetic, turns to where Greta's run and sees that some others go and chase her. He's like, leave them. We've got a new plaything. And he grabs you by the scruff of the neck and picks you up. Well, I say he picks you up off of your feet and then begins pushing you towards the way that Greta's gone.
Yeah. You leave them alone. They don't deserve it.
I don't care what you say. You're nobody.
I spit in his eye.
Oh. Oh, if you weren't so fragile, I'd have a bit of fun with you, but carry on. And he sort of pushes you towards where the food stores are and looks and sees that all the food's gone. Ah, so that's what you were doing here. Might have to send a bit of a message to your town people. Get up there, and he points to where the top of the ridges that you climbed over before, that leads to the edge of the cliff, or the edge of the mountain, which is like a sheer drop.
Are there still people running?
Greta was the only one that got away.
Oh,
the rest of them are now being held by the bandits.
Just let them go. Do what you want. Yeah, use me as a message. They don't deserve it. Come on.
Oh, no. I'm going to use them as a message. I'm going to have a little bit of fun with. I'm going to send a different type of message with you. Get up there.
I think some of them will have to like kick me a few times, but I will eventually.
Oh no! None of the other bandits.
Oh,
touch
they're not.
you. It's just him. They're all sort of surrounding, so you can't get away. But it's just him that's sort of assaulting you.
Why would I do that?
It's a little bit of fun. I mean, I know where your little friend is. I know the little path that she's taken. I could go and hunt her down right now if I wanted to.
You leave her
Slit
alone.
her throat.
You leave her alone.
Get up there, then, you little bitch.
I go up to the lip of the ravine.
So you stand up at the edge of the cliff, and he is the only one of the reavers that comes up there with you. He looks at you, looks out towards where the sort of path is that leads down, and he shouts out, "Hey, goat girl, you tell that old man that if he wants to send some people up here to steal from me, he better send ones that don't get themselves caught." And then you feel a sharp pain in your chest. As in a flash, he's pulled a long short sword out and stabbed you right in the chest with it.
How close is he?
He's within 5 feet of you.
Can I attempt? I know I'm dying. Can I attempt to grapple?
You can attempt to grapple. I need to roll an attack roll first.
Because you assume you're like, yeah, you feel sharp pain. Actually, no, you're absolutely fine.
Yeah, just sort of pokes. It's a rubber sword.
Yeah.
That is a 23 to hit you, sir.
The sword goes into my chest.
Sword goes into your chest. That is going to be 8 points of slashing damage.
Well,
plus
stabbing damage, yeah.
Stabbing damage. Plus 17. No, that's a 17 to hit. Plus 9 points of more slashing damage because he has an ability that allows him to increase his damage.
So what was it? 7 and 9?
8 and 9. So 8 and 9. So it is a total of 17 points in total.
Okay, so 17 points of damage.
Yes.
Damage. I'm still up.
Okay. The sword is now protruding from your chest, and
I'm going to attempt to grapple him.
Okay, make me. I'm going to say make me an attack roll.
Should we say unarmed because it's?
Add your strength to do it.
Cool. Nat 20 for 27.
Oh, so you grab? How are you grabbing onto him? In order for you to grab onto him, you're going to have to push the sword further in.
Oh, I'm grappling him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me. You'll take an additional 5 points of slashing damage as you push the sword further into you.
Yeah. And I think
you grab him. You've got him.
Grab him. I've got him, and I think to what I hope will be his horror, I attempt to fall backwards, holding him.
As you grab hold of him, he just grins and goes, "Aren't you a feisty little one?" And then as you go to fall backwards with him, he's like, "Oh," and he's going to try and break the grapple. So breaking the grapple is going to be a contested athletics check.
Athletics. Cool.
What did you roll?
What did you roll?
What did you roll? You're the player.
I rolled a 23.
I rolled a 15. So he keeps hold. So
I hold him.
You keep hold of him, and you go to fall, and he goes to fall as well. But he sort of stands his ground. So you're sort of hanging on now. You're now hanging over the edge with this sword in your chest, and he's just sort of firmly standing on. He's like, "Oh, you're a bit of a tenacious bastard, aren't you?"
I'm not weak sauce. I hate to disappoint you, but...
It's such a shame. I could have had such fun with you. And he just rears his head back and smacks you in the head with his head. He's going to use something. That is a 19 to hit you.
That does hit.
Okay, you take 11 points of bludgeoning damage. If that doesn't knock you unconscious.
I mean, it does, but I'm a half-orc.
Okay.
So, again, folks, we're working with it. That I feel, again, like I'm going down, but just it's almost like, my tenacity that I get to look, as I'm sort of going limp and then looking up at him again. Like, again, nose has exploded. Blood's just pouring.
Fuck you.
Can you make me a strength saving throw, please? Because this headbutt, if you fail on it, you are knocked prone, which means you'll automatically fail the grapple.
26.
You are fine. As he headbutts into you, you look like you're going to fall unconscious, but you just raise your head and it's like, oh. He takes a step back, pulling you back up onto the ledge. We're in a bit of a stalemate here, it seems.
Come on. That must have earned me a couple of the lives of those people. I mean, come on, it's not fun if you kill them now. Let them go back. Let them give them a month. Come on.
No, I will say that you've definitely extended their torture a little bit. Their deaths will be agonizing and painful while you lie dead at the bottom of this mountain.
I headbutt him. I now try and headbutt him.
Right, make me an attack roll.
Yeah, just... Hey, folks, this is just me and Josh being utter badasses at each other. I'm going to be fascinated to know what you thought I was going to do. That's a 24 to hit.
That hits. Roll some damage.
That's because I'm doing unarmed. That's 6 points of. I want to say bludgeoning. Headbutt damage.
Yeah. So you crack him in the head, and you watch as you bust his nose open a little bit. A little bit of blood trickles down. You can see that there's a cut across the bridge of his nose, and he's like, "Oh."
I also think because I've got my tusks, I kind of that's the thing.
Yeah, it sort of pierces him a bit. Yeah. I've had enough of these games now.
Go on.
Get off of me, you little bug. And he rams a sword almost so the hilt is right in you. I'm not going to roll an attack roll for this.
I think that's because he's got his hand on the sword. It's just he twists it.
He twists it and pulls the blade out. You loosen your grip because 1 point of damage will take you down.
Yeah.
And you fall.
Yeah. Just fall back over into the room. Yeah.
You watch as this figure, as Kimdak wipes your blood on the front of his armor and then puts the short sword away, looks down as you fall. It's right as you go out of it's right as he goes out of your vision that you see him turn around. And just as you just happen to glance over to the right, and you can see hiding in the trees 2 little horns and brown hair and you can see Greta in the woods watching as you plummet down to the bottom of the mountain into water. It's a loud splash and darkness.
So shall I re-roll a new character for the main campaign?
Yes, please roll re-roll a new character for the campaign.
Shit.
At that point,
Yeah.
that is where we're going to leave tonight's session, I think. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Brahm will be in the main campaign. There's just a little bit more to his story that we're now going to have to find out during the campaign because we've gone over by quite a bit. So,
Yeah.
but thank you very much, everybody, for watching. If you like what you see, we stream on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays on Twitch. Mondays are our Adventures in Faerun campaigns, as well as the Chronicles of Aeodrun. We're going to be running them on alternative weeks. Tuesdays are our rerun shows where we take some of the classic stuff from the Roll Together Vault and give them a little bit of a spruce up and then show them to you so new audience members can see them. And Fridays we have other TTRPGs. Blades in the Dark, Warhammer, Mass Effect, all different types of things are coming or have already aired on the channel. All of our socials will be posted in the chat or in the description below. Thank you to our sponsors Phoenix Dice and our supporters Idle Champions of Forgotten Realms and Bearded Ladies. And a massive thank you to our D20 sponsors. You are all absolutely amazing. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. You can join them for as little as one of your local currency or one goat, which must go to Tom, in the chat or in the description below.
Folks, you saw I had a goat and now I've lost her.
Yes.
It's gone. Yeah.
Yes. Next week, as I said, will be one of the Adventures in Faerun. At the time of recording this, we're not 100% sure what the schedule is, but it will be one of those. And then we will be back the following week with another one of our Origin episodes where we will get to meet another character.
Exciting.
And
Maybe
see how much of a puppet I can make them.
I was going to say maybe they won't go quite out like a chump, but I say that I've left them with a scar.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Anyway. It's not talk together or talking as a free action, but I'm going to say it. Always stay classy at the table. Goodbye.
Always.